You know it's this. Take a perk and a talk of that shit. Money swallowed like sis. Did it perfect in the kid. Got a billion who sang on my head. Look up better. Put on the road I just spent. I know we got $1 million. The devil that shit ain't not cheaper again.
Hello and welcome back, fellow anime lovers, to MangaMuse. I am delighted to have you join us once again in the world of fanfiction and fantasy. This is the fourth part of What If Naruto Enters Mega Man? Special note, this fanfic is written and a masterpiece of Hussbek on FANFICTIONnet. Do check and support the author too. Now smash the like, share and subscribe button for more. Also press the bell icon so that you never miss such great parts. Thanks for the introduction. Now let's dive into the world. Upon exiting through the portal, Naruto had to watch himself as he was descending a couple feet in the air before safely landing on the ground. He proceeded to look around and was surprised at the sight of the stage. He appears to be standing in the streets of a city similar to that of Dentek City, but the major difference is that it appears as if the apocalypse had descended upon it, given that some of the buildings broken and burning within, others knocked over from their foundations, destroyed roads and highways, even the clouds are pitch black with no signs of sunlight whatsoever. This reminds Naruto of the aftermath after Konoha had been attacked by the Sand and Sound village, though not as bad as what he's seeing. Man, what a dreary place, Naruto mused to himself as he continued to survey the area. Maybe so, best you exercise caution here. There are numerous places for the enemy to hide and attempt to ambush us, said Kurama sternly. I know, that fact has been driven into my head thanks to my past experience. I need to find Archer before he finds me. Naruto chose a random direction and proceeded to navigate his way through the desolate city whilst watching out for hazards and keeping an eye for any signs of the enemy. Naruto landed in the middle of a juncture and began looking around only to find nothing yet again. The blonde let out a sigh of frustration and was about to walk away when something suddenly zipped through the air and pierced his chest, knocking him down to the ground and revealing itself to be an arrow. Naruto laid there unmoving until he suddenly disappeared in a puff of smoke. A head slowly poked out from behind a building which turns out to be the real Naruto as he took note of a dark silhouette positioned at the rooftop of a tall building before quickly disappearing, causing him to frown. So he was acting true to his name, using a bow and arrows to attack from a distance. It's a good thing that I had a shadow clone act as bait, Naruto muttered to himself. But now he's aware of your ability to create clones and so will be on guard, said Kurama. I know, I'll see what I can do to flush him out. Naruto stood up and crossed the middle and index fingers of both hands, multi-shadow clone jutsu. In a large puff of smoke, there were at least 3 dozen of himself standing before him attentively. Okay guys, you know what to do. Roger boss, the clones responded in affirmation before taking off in random directions as they commenced with the assigned objective. Elsewhere in the rooftop of another tall building was Archer crouched down on one knee with a black bow in hand as he watched the clones of his opponent take off in multiple directions and has a good idea of what he intends to do, so he's capable of creating doppelgangers. There's more to him than I initially thought. A holoscreen of Kuro appeared next to him. So do you have a plan for this Archer? Not entirely, but I will have to move from place to place more frequently whilst taking out the clones in order to seek out the original and take him out, Archer replied. Okay then, just let me know when you need battle chips and I'll supply them. Archer nodded in affirmation, then he quickly ran towards the edge and leapt off to land on the next roof. He traversed along the broken buildings till he came across some of the clones patrolling the area and hid behind a dented vent. He peeked over to see that none of them had seen him before nocking an arrow and took aim at one of the clones whose back was turned towards him and fired, piercing through its back before disappearing in a puff of smoke. Then he noticed that the clones suddenly stopped for a moment before turning to look in his direction before flinging chakra shuriken and kunai, causing the net Navi to hide behind the dent for cover. Archer, they're heading your way. Kuro called out in alert. No need to point out the obvious since they're already here. Archer stepped out to see a group of the clones standing at the ready to attack as they charged with chakra kunai in hand. Archer swiftly weaved in and out of the incoming attacks whilst using his bow to parry several incoming slashes and kicking the clones away from him before somersaulting backwards and rapidly firing arrows to take the clones out before quickly leaping off the rooftop along other buildings till he felt like he had built a safe distance from his opponent. Well, that escalated quickly. Seems there's more to those copies than I thought. What do you mean? The moment I took out one of the clones, the others immediately knew what happened and deduced where I was hidden before moving in. That leads me to believe that they're somehow linked to each other, Archer explained. If so, then destroying any of them would expose us and we won't figure exactly where the original is, said Kuro with a frown. Not exactly, I just need to be quick with my attacks. Here's hoping that it works. Indeed. Archer took off once more and went to hide himself within one of the broken apartments where he located several more of the clones and prepared his bow once more. He closed his eyes and took a deep breath. Hawkeye. He opened them to reveal his eyes glowing faintly, then he locked on to the clones and rapidly fired multiple arrows before quickly exiting the building without needing to check if the projectiles made their mark, which they did. Surviving clones tired to zero in on the source of the snipe but were unable to locate the enemy only to be shot down as well. Naruto was hiding out in a shop and frowned as he received the memories from his dispelled clones, which was increasing gradually. He's taking out my clones much quicker than I thought, and from that far too, my clones won't be able to get to him fast enough before he switches locations. Best conclusion is that he has figured out how your clones work, said Kurama. Then I'll just have to switch strategies just like he did. Naruto exiting from the shop and created another large group of shadow clones but with different commands as they went off in random directions. I'm pretty much losing count at how many of these doppelgangers that I've shot down already, Archer leaping off a rooftop after sniping several more of the clones. But we're getting somewhere though. We can tell that this technique would be taxing on Maelstrom, so he can't really be able to create more without wearing himself out, said Kuro. Archer landed on the next building upon locating the next batch and was about to take aim at them when something suddenly slammed into him from the side. He skidded along the ground and looked up only to be surprised upon seeing one of the clones rushing up to him with the vorpal blade in hand and slashed, but he was swift to leap out of the way and fired an arrow in midair to take it out. How was he able to locate me? Archer, below you. Archer looked down and was further surprised to see more of the clones grab each other and launch them towards him as makeshift projectiles. He somersaulted in midair and kicked off the side of the building into the air. There he proceeded to evade the incoming clones whilst using a few of them as stepping stones for aerial maneuvers before countering by firing arrows at the clones on the ground to prevent any more from being thrown at him. Suddenly he felt something descending from above and looked up only to quickly raise his bow to blow a strike from a clone equipped with the tiger claws, although he suspects that he's the original. Take this. Naruto launched a flurry of slashes with Archer parrying with his bow before seizing the wrist of one hand before spinning round to throw him to the ground. The clones were quick to catch him, causing Archer to suspect something before calling out to Kuro. Kuro, I need a battle chip. Got it. Caliburg 2 battle chip in, download. Kuro inserted the chip into her pet as an oddly shaped sword appeared in Archer's hand, which he then knocked onto the bow, causing it to take on the shape a corkscrew-like arrow. I am the bone of my sword. Spiral, ready. Fire. Archer let the bowstring loose as the arrow zipped through the air at blurring speeds. Naruto's eyes widened in shock. His instincts were screaming at him to not get hit by it no matter what. I need defense now. I'm on it. Barrier battle chip in, download. See, Naruto hastily inserted a chip into the pet for a transparent protective dome to encase Naruto and the clones. But the moment the arrow made contact with the barrier, the latter was instantly shattered into pieces before striking its target, resulting in a massive explosion. Did we get them? Asked Kuro curiously. Archer was silent for a few moments before responding. No, he managed to escape at the very last moment before the Caliburg could strike him. Should we go after him? Obviously, especially now that all of his clones are taken out. Archer took to the rooftops once more in search of his opponent. Elsewhere, Naruto was leaning against the side of a building in the middle of an alleyway. The blonde ninja had used the substitution jutsu as a precaution even when the barrier was set up, which was the right call when it was destroyed, and managed to escape from the explosion that came afterwards. Breathe, never in my life have I ever seen anyone use a sword like an arrow and yet pack enough punch to make explosive tags look like fireworks, said Naruto, trying to calm his rapidly beating heart from the lucky escape. At least we have a clear idea on how he was able to progress through the tournament with such level of power and skill, said Kurama thoughtfully. Got any suggestions to turn this all around? First is to draw him into close combat, since it's obvious that his long-range attacks far outclass yours, plus it has to be somewhere within an enclosed area as well. I might be able to do something about that, thought Naruto. Suddenly he heard something whooshing through the air and immediately ducked in time for an arrow to hit the wall where his head was leaning against, and looked up to see Archer preparing to firing another arrow. Man, he's fast. Let's see how I can do this, I need cover. Okay then. Invisible battle chip in, download. See, Naruto inserted the chip into the pet, making Naruto turn invisible for Archer to lose sight of him. Archer's eyes narrowed as he held his bow at the ready and tried to sense for the concealed opponent. He leapt high into the air upon sensing something heading towards him at high speed before retaliating by firing multiple arrows in the direction which the kunai were thrown from, striking a hidden clone which was then dispelled. Archer suddenly felt something wrap around his body and a familiar voice yelled out. Do it now. Naruto yelled. On it. Area Steel battle chip in. Download. See, Naruto inserted the chip into the pet. Naruto immediately warped himself with Archer in his grips, and they ended up crashing through the roof of what appears to be a ruinous cathedral as they tumbled away from each other before getting back to their feet. So that was your plan, huh? Forcefully relocating us to an area where you can engage me in close range. Quite smart, I must admit, said Archer as he looked around the area. Naruto shrugged in response. Given that you've been shooting arrows at my clones and I like fishes in a barrel of water, I had to change my strategy a little. Kuro appeared next to Archer via the holoscreen. Maybe so, but don't go thinking that Archer is only good with a bow and arrow, as you're about to find out. We'll just have to see about that, see, Naruto replied. Naruto unsheathed the chakra blade in a normal grip and the vorpal blade in a reverse grip before taking in combat stance as Archer held his hands out as if holding something. Then there was a flash of light which dissipated to reveal him holding a pair of short swords, with both bearing the yin-yang symbol on the hilt and black handles, with the black sword embossed with red hexagonal patterns, whilst the white sword has less of the shine of a polished metal in its ore than it has the haze of a cloud. Show us the strength that brought you and your operator all this way, said Archer. Oh, we're gonna show you all right, and then some, said Naruto before charging towards his opponent to begin the fight. Naruto rushed up to Archer but was taken by surprise, was suddenly right in front of him with one of the swords already in the middle of a slash, forcing him to parry with the red net navi zipping, and turned round to see him right in front once more with another incoming strike. So Naruto blocked with the vorpal blade and retaliated with the chakra blade, only for it to be blocked with Archer's other sword as he was struck in the chest with an elbow strike. Naruto jumped backwards to put up some distance whilst smarting a bit from the hit to the chest. I knew he's fast, but this is something else altogether, but there's no time for complaining here. He saw Archer disappear from his sights again and quickly spun round to deflect a strike from behind with the force causing him to stumble, to which he quickly regained his balance to deflect another slash, but was beginning to feel frustrated having been forced into the defensive role. Archer slashed at Naruto with both of his swords, and Naruto blocked with his blades but was knocked down to the ground with a knee strike. Is this all you can do, block attacks? I was hoping for a lot more than this, said Archer stoically. Naruto gritted his teeth in anger at being looked down upon. He got back to his feet and retook his combat stance. I might as well change that point of view. He dashed at Archer and proceeded to clash blades with him at a rapid pace, then performing a low sweep kick which Archer leapt into the air to avoid. Then he threw the vorpal blade at him, but it got deflected before Archer switched his swords out for the bow to fire several arrows at the blonde ninja. Naruto deflected the incoming arrows with his chakra blade, then summoning the Orem blade to his free hand, then pulled the trigger to launch a barrage of plasma shots. They continued to exchange fire till Naruto threw his chakra blade at Archer for him to dodge before quickly running up to him whilst having a blade made of cyan energy shot out of the muzzle of the Orem blade. Archer summoned one of the short swords to block the incoming attack, then switching the bow out for the other sword and lashed out in a counter. The chakra blade flew back into Naruto's hand in time for him to block the counter. They struggled for demps until it ended in a stalemate as they leapt away from the other. Naruto tossed the chakra blade into the air and formed a handful of cyber shuriken and threw them at Archer, who deflected them swiftly, but he refused to stop and kept throwing more while running until the chakra blade fell back to his hand and performed a cross slash, but Archer evaded it by dashing backwards. Let's how he handles this. Shadow Clone Jutsu. Naruto summoned a small group of clones that charged ahead with him following afterwards. Archer adjusted his stance with his short swords in hand as the clones lunged at him, then he proceeded to weave in and out of their attacks whilst parrying, then countering with attacks of his own to forcefully deflect them, but Naruto would create more clones to replace the ones lost. It was at a certain moment that Archer kicked at a shadow clone as a spring to somersault away whilst re-equipping his bow, and Kuro took out a battle chip. Confronting battle chip in, download. Kuro inserted the chip into her pet and a red arrow appeared in Archer's hand, which he then knocked onto the bow and took aim. Confronting, Hound of the Red Plains, fatigue. Archer fired the arrow which struck one of the Narutos, causing him to go down on one knee with the feeling of exhaustion, which also affected the other clones as they began disappearing one by one, exposing him as the original. Archer switched back to his short swords, which were glowing ominously with energy. This is the end, triple-linked crane wings. Archer threw the swords at Naruto, who used his blades to deflect but was caught off guard as Archer rapidly approached him with a second pair and slashed at him consecutively, and the first thrown pair came flying back and hits the blonde from behind. Finally, he creates a third pair which are longer with a feather-like appearance, and he performs the final strike with them whilst appearing behind Naruto. I suggest that you give up this fight, your fighting prowess is no match for me, said Archer as a matter-of-factly. Naruto got on his hands and knees before looking back to glare at him, and I suggest not counting your cyber chickens before they hatch. Right as he said that, Naruto disappeared in a puff of smoke, revealing to be a shadow clone after all, much to Archer's and Kuro's shock. That was a clone too. Then where's? Suddenly there were plumes of smoke around Archer as blurs shot out of them towards Archer for him to see that they're shadow clones. The first clone dashed forward and punched Archer in the face, causing him to stumble. The second clone came from behind with a slide kick to knock him off his feet. The third clone dashed in from the left and used a rising kick to launch him into the air, while the original leapt into the air whilst spinning. The final clone appeared under Archer while performing a handstand and dealt a double kick to send him higher. Maelstrom Barrage. Naruto slammed a powerful heel drop kick and they both descended towards the ground, resulting in a small crater. Finally got a hit on ya, said Naruto with a frown. Archer, are you okay? Asked Kuro worriedly. Don't worry about me, I can still fight, Archer replied, getting out of the crater before turning to face Naruto, but now I can see how you made it all the way here. You lack the strategic mindset common in battle-hardened net novice, and physical abilities are not always on par with your opponents. However, it appears that you instinctively adapt to the skills and techniques of your opponents, then come up with ways and methods to counter them while at the same time creating new techniques and strategies of your own while on the move. I don't really get what you're talking about, but you're making it sound like my chances of beating you increases the longer this battle goes, said Naruto with a shrug of his shoulders. And you think we would allow that to happen? Kuro scoffed in response. We'll just have to see, won't we? Said Naruto. Then I'll end it here and now, Archer declared. This caused Kuro to look at Archer in surprise. Are you planning on using that? I thought we're going save it till we're in the finals. I may have said that, but I don't intend on wasting any more time with our opponent. Okay Archer, I'm executing the program. What's going on? Thought Naruto confusedly. Sounds to me like Archer intends to use his trump card, said Kurama with a small frown. Then they heard Archer utter some sort of prayer which sounded very powerful in their ears, and flames of blue fire sprang up from the ground. Suddenly a bright light filled Naruto's vision, causing him to shield his eyes to avoid being blinded, then opened them only to be shocked upon seeing that he was no longer inside of the chapel anymore. Around him is what appears to be an open barren desert with a thick hazy atmosphere which he saw giant monolithic black gears gyrating in the distance. What caught Naruto's attention the most was the countless number of swords all around, anchored to the ground like grave markers, making him feel like he was standing in the middle of a cemetery. "Where on earth am I?" asked Naruto confusedly. "The pet tells me that you're still within the chapel," said Naruto. "It looks to me that Archer is capable of altering reality just like Alice and Shiori, but his far surpasses theirs. Best you exercise great caution," said Kurama. "Noted, this is going to be a lot tougher than I thought, and I get the feeling that those swords aren't just for show," thought Naruto. He looked around, found Archer standing at the top of a hill looking down at him. "Best you prepare yourself, or I'll not be holding back from here on out," said Archer, summoning the dual short swords to his hands. Naruto himself held the chakra blade and Orem blade at the ready. "Same here, time for the second phase of this duel." Naruto constantly clashed blades with Archer atop the hill adorned with swords as he attempted to gain demps over his opponent. The blonde cyber ninja began noticing that the red net Navi's speed and strength seemed to have increased compared to before using this unique technique of his, but chalked it up to activating this unlimited blade works of his. He broke off from the currently clash and dashed backwards to build some distance. A chip. On it. Airshot battle chip in and download. See, Naruto inserted the next battle chip into the pet as Naruto sheathed the chakra blade for his free hand to transform into an arm cannon. He took aim and proceeded to fire spheres of air at the enemy. Suddenly the swords around Archer pulled themselves out of the ground and then conjoined to form a defensive wall to block the incoming projectiles before launching themselves towards a surprised Naruto, who quickly snapped back into focus and backflipped rapidly to evade them until the barrage finally ended. "Guess those swords weren't just for show. I bet Tenten would have fangirled at the sight of this since she's practically a walking arsenal," Naruto muttered to himself. "Stay focused, Kit. This revelation just made things a whole harder," said Kurama urgently. Naruto felt something shifted underneath where he was standing and quickly leapt into the air just in time as several swords burst out from the ground. Cyber Shuriken. He sent away the Orem blade to summon said tools into both hands, then proceeded to throw them towards Archer with the swords once more rising to deflect the incoming projectiles before launching themselves towards the ninja. Naruto created a shadow clone to grab onto him and toss to the side, to evade the swords whilst landing back on the ground. Vulcan battle chip in, download. See, Naruto inserted the next chip into the pet for Naruto's arm to transform into a gun with multiple barrels which began to spin as bullets shot out of it. Archer darted to the side and began running while mentally ordering the swords to attack. Naruto evaded the return fire and began running as well. Both sides continued to exchange fire until finally having enough and leapt into the air towards each other, with Archer forming the large versions of Kansho and Bakuya once more. Aqua sword and fire's word battle chip in, double download. Naruto was quickly equipped with blades of fire and water in his arms as they clashed in the middle before landing on the ground to form a crater underneath their feet. Embers of flames and splashes of water could be seen from the constant clashes between the warriors. Naruto was pushing as hard as he could, but Archer was doing the same on his side, but neither were intending to give an inch to the other. The blonde cyber ninja took note of his HUD, alerting him of the chakra blade is fully charged, so he deactivated the elemental blades before unsheathing the weapon from his back and tapping the Konoha symbol for the blue chakra to surge out of the blade and take shape of a longer variation. Overflow state active. Now I'm getting serious here. Naruto charged into the fray once more, but he was taken by surprise when he saw Archer actually form a replica of Nero's sword and used it to block his attack. Guess there's more to it than just launching swords. You catch on quick, let's see how much you've figured out. Archer pushed Naruto back and swung the sword to launch a wave of flames, with Naruto swinging the chakra blade to a wave of chakra which collided with the incoming attack and cancelled it out. Naruto pointed the chakra blade at Archer. Blistering blades, wisps of chakra flowed out of the blade and took on the of the chakra blade, with 4 hovering at each side before launching them at the target with great speed. Archer summoned blades as well to launch them and cancelling each other out. Let's see you handle this. Archer waved a hand to make swords surround Naruto before launching them towards the blonde cyber ninja. Naruto's mind raced quickly before coming with a crazy idea as he performed a 360 spin whilst making the chakra blade's energy blade to extend outwardly in a way of imitating the Hyuga's rotation technique and was somehow able to deflect all of the swords, then turned to glare at Archer. My turn then. Naruto gripped the chakra blade with both hands and rearing back, take this, /. He swung it forward to launch a large wave of chakra towards Archer. Kuro's eyes widened in shock as the attack is similar to the ones she saw those net novice at the N1 Grand Prix. If she recalls as the program advance and knows that it mustn't hit Archer no matter what, she quickly took out a chip which has a picture of a silhouetted Roman soldier bearing a shield before inserting it into the pet. Archer's hand twitched as he held it forward and called out in a loud voice. Ro Ajax. Then a 7-layered barrier in the form of 7 flower petals made from light in the shape of a pinkish iridescent flower appeared before him. The chakra wave slammed into the barrier with sparks flying everywhere as Archer maintained it. The attack managed to break through the first followed by the second but dissipated upon breaking through the third, much to Naruto's surprise. What the? How come the / didn't destroy the barrier completely? Naruto muttered in disbelief. Don't forget that the amount of damage capable by the technique depends on the amount of chakra remaining in the blade. It might have lacked the needed attack power since you used several techniques with it, said Kurama. You have shown me your best move, allow to show you mine. Archer held out a hand before himself to summon a appealing double-edged sword. He crouched slightly with the sword reared back in a double grip. Naruto saw the mass amounts of energy gathering at the blade and had the same feeling as to when Archer was about to fire that spiral-shaped sword, but only greater. May this light reach the king that can't be reached. Excalibur image. Archer practically appeared right in front of Naruto already in mid-swing. The ninja raised his chakra blade overhead to defend himself but was completely unprepared for the impact, which resulted in a massive explosion of blue and golden energy before dissipating to reveal Archer standing in front of a large crater, and Naruto was seen lying face down in the middle of it with a broken chakra blade next to him. Maelstrom, get up. You can't give up here, said Naruto worriedly. It's over. That attack is one of Archer's most powerful attacks. No one has ever gotten up to resume battle after being hit from it. This battle is over, said Kuro. Hey, don't think you can write me off like that. Archer looked in shock as Naruto slowly struggled to his feet and stared back at Archer in defiance. This fight isn't over, not by a long shot. Your body is critically damaged and in no condition to continue this fight, and I can tell that you've used all of your strongest moves and tactics. This battle won't be in your favor if you insist on fighting me, said Archer. Naruto chuckled in response. If I could get a zenny for every time I heard that, by normal standards you could be right about that. But the thing is, Naruto looked at Archer, I'm not a regular opponent. Taking that as his cue, Kurama unleashed his chakra for his host's body to be enshrouded in a crimson-red aura with tendrils swirling around, which surprised Archer to take several steps back in shock. What's going on? Where is this power coming from? Asked Kuro confusedly. It appears to be coming from within and is even healing the damage inflicted upon him at a rapid rate, said Archer with narrowed eyes. Naruto felt the familiar power flow through his body as it healed his wounds and empowered him before speaking out to Archer with a smirk, time for the final round. He disappeared from view, causing Archer to broaden his senses to locate his opponent. Eyes widened in shock and looked up to see Naruto descending towards him with a heel drop kick, which he jumped away from for it to slam to the ground and form a crater. Archer summoned his dual short swords and flung them towards Naruto, with him unsheathing the vorpal blade in a reverse grip and swiftly deflecting them in a single movement before blurring out of sight again. Archer bent his upper body backwards to avoid an incoming slash from his left side by Naruto, having equipped himself with the tiger claws, who rolled along the ground and was on fours like a feral beast whilst glaring at the red net Navi. Archer summoned barrages of swords launch at Naruto, but he would dart from side to side to evade them with movements as if he was teleporting despite being pure speed. He's so fast. Is this what helped him advance this far? Asked Kuro. Apparently so. I'm hard-pressed to keep a beat on him, said Archer. he heard something zipping through the air from behind and several giant swords to burst out from the ground to block the barrage of energy bullets being fired by Naruto through his tiger claws. Archer summoned multiple swords around Naruto with no way of escape before firing them simultaneously. Clawed Storm. Naruto jumped into the air and spun around very fast whilst the claws produced an onslaught of whirlwind projectiles to deflect each and every one of the blades before landing back on the ground to glare at Archer. Let's see if that shield of yours can block this. Naruto held out his open right hand as a blue spiraling sphere of energy appeared on it before taking on a darker color due to Kurama's influence. He crouched slightly before taking of it high speed. I can't let that attack get anywhere close to me, thought Archer as he launched wave after wave of swords at Naruto, who would dash in a zigzag pattern and using the vorpal blade to deflect any he couldn't dodge in time as he rapidly drew closer. DMN. Need to use Ro Ajax again. He quickly projected the barrier right at the moment Naruto was in front of him. Vermilion Rasengan. He slammed the Bijou enhanced jutsu against the barrier with sparks flying from the sphere grinding against it. Archer was constantly maintaining the barrier by supplying it with energy, but he was taken by surprise when the Rasengan began through each layer of the barrier much sooner compared to the overslash technique of the chakra blade till he was down to his 7th barrier. Both combatants roared out as they unleashed everything they had into the attack, resulting in a bright flash of light. The light soon dissipated to reveal them back in the ruins of the cathedral with the results of the clash clearly visible on their bodies. Naruto's body is covered in scorch marks and clenching his right arm with rips and tears on the suit. Archer on the other hand was down on one knee with a majority of his red coat shredded whilst clenching his right arm as well, which was having data flowed out of it. Man, we really went at each other, said Naruto with a pained grin, feeling Kurama's chakra healing him. Archer smirked in response, indeed we did, but in the end you were the winner, barely. What are you talking about, Archer? You can still go on after I heal you, said Kuro confusedly as she prepared to insert a recovery chip. It won't work. His technique had managed to break through the Ro Ajax, which inflicts damage upon myself, and it had some sort of side effects on my arm that I can't even feel it. What's more, I can see that he's still capable of continuing the fight unlike me right now, Archer explained, seeing Naruto stop holding his right arm, not to mention that there's a clone probably hiding somewhere to take me out if I were to attempt attacking. Am I wrong? Naruto's lip curled up slightly at the last bit. So you figured that out too. You remind me of a good friend of mine, very lazy and finds almost everything troublesome but extremely smart. Oh darn, I was hoping that we would go all the way, but a loss is a loss, Kuro pouted. We don't mind a rematch after the tournament, you know, said Naruto. Then next time, we won't lose to you. Looking forward to it, said Naruto with a smirk. I advise that you two be careful. This tournament is more than it seems, said Archer seriously as he began to disappear in a beam of light. Guess we weren't the only ones to notice. We'll be sure to get to the bottom of things, said Naruto. Archer nodded before fully disappearing and the link with Kuro ended. I kind of find it weird that we've been unable to contact the other Nitops since we arrived here, said Naruto. I know, another thing to keep an eye out for. Might as well return and recover. Naruto walked over to the chakra blade and picked up the pieces. How are we going to fix this? There's an auto fix feature on it, just need to send into the pet system to start it up, said Naruto. The original nodded in understanding before the weapon disappeared from his hands, but was taken by surprise when the Aurum blade appeared. Then it suddenly transformed into a bow that is made up of 2 gold blades containing blue accents, and it possesses a brown handle, a red emblem that attaches to the back of the Naruto's hand, and 2 halos that wrap around his forearm. Naruto felt information flow into his mind concerning the weapon. So it's called the Palutena bow. It must have based itself on Archer's combat skills, said Naruto thoughtfully. You can admire it later, just use the moon tablet and head back so you can recover, said Kurama. Right. Naruto turned towards the moon tablet which had appeared before him and took hold of it to release a beam of light towards the ground to form a small circular platform with a metallic outline and a glowing bright blue center with the symbol of a moon at a focal point. He stepped onto the portal and felt himself being transferred to the front entrance of the Sakura Labyrinth. He took a couple steps away when he heard the sound of transference and turned to see that it was none other than Gilgamesh, which meant that Tamamo lost to him, much to his sadness. I guess she couldn't beat him. Gilgamesh took note of Naruto and had an idea for the reason of his silence. Were you expecting that woman to be the victor of our match? I find it to be quite an insulting notion. She hardly stood that much of a chance against a king such as myself despite having used her most powerful technique, but you needn't feel sad as you'll soon be joining her. Naruto growled in anger at his words. We'll see about that. I won't be pulling any punches when we meet on the battlefield. He walked away before he would most likely lose his temper around the arrogant net Navi. Such arrogance reminds me of someone whom I hate more than anyone else in the world, or rather worlds, Kurama muttered with a low growl. Who are you talking about, Kurama? Thought Naruto curiously. I don't really want to talk about it, maybe some other time. Oh, okay. Naruto began making his way over to the infirmary to get healed by Sakura and rest for the finals tomorrow, but he has a gut feeling that something serious is bound to happen, and it could be something no one would be expecting. The day of the final round has arrived as Naruto was already awake, but the thought of the bout against Gilgamesh wasn't the only thing on his mind, as he was currently communicating with the shadow clone operating the pet relating to their previous investigations outside on the island, along with the information received from Kazuradrop as well. Are you still not able to meet with the Netops or even getting out of the room? Asked Naruto. Not at all, even the doors now when it used to be open. I'm not liking this at all, boss, said Naruto. Feelings mutual, given that we're drawing to a close in this tourney. We're fully aware that things are gonna go beyond just fighting Gilgamesh team and making a wish from the moon cell, that is if it would even come to that. Better prepared for anything, you are practically jumping in headfirst into a viper's nest. The unknown is rapidly increasing the tension, said Kurama. I know, and I'm trying not to let it get to me. Naruto got off the bed and went up to the roof where he found Alice and Shiori sitting together, though they perked up when they saw him and scampered over. Are you preparing for the final round, Naruto? Asked Shiori curiously. Naruto nodded in affirmation. Yup, I'm all set, I hope. Once I'm done, I'll take you two along with me in my pet. I can't wait to see how the outside world is like, said Alice excitedly. You both will soon enough. Naruto fondly patted Alice's head. I'm gonna head for the infirmary before the labyrinth, so wish me luck. Good luck, Naruto, we hope you win, said Alice and Shiori simultaneously. Naruto nodded in affirmation before exiting the dormitory before making his way to the main school and went inside the infirmary where he saw Sakura sitting, but it seemed like her mind is elsewhere as she didn't respond when he was opening the door, so the blonde cyber ninja called out to her. Sakura-chan. Naruto a bit loudly, which seemed to be enough to get her attention. Oh Maelstrom, sorry but my mind was elsewhere, said Sakura apologetically. No worries, just came in to check on you before heading to the labyrinth for the final stage. Sakura looked worried upon hearing that. Maelstrom, I think you shouldn't continue into the final stage. Naruto blinked in confusion upon hearing that. Why do you say that? Many had advanced into the final stage, but something never seems to go the way one would expect, and it constantly repeats every time. I do not wish for you to go through the same thing as well. What is it that happens? I can't seem to recall properly, but I can remember the sensation of it every time. I suspect that Sakura's connection with BB would have something to do with this. She must have sensed, albeit weakly, whatever that BB does, said Kurama. That sounds about right, thought Naruto before speaking up with a warm smile. You don't need to worry, I'm sure that everything will end just fine. I've got a couple of trump cards hidden up my sleeves to pull out when a push comes to a shove. Wish me luck, Sakura-chan. Naruto left the infirmary with Sakura watching him leave as she held her hands as a way of prayer. I wish there was a way to change all this. The whims of this system has gone on for far too long. Meanwhile, the blonde cyber ninja had arrived at the entrance of the Sakura labyrinth but noticed that there's no one else around and that he's the only one here, leaving him standing there in confusion. Okay, did I come too early, or maybe they started without me? Naruto muttered lowly. Doubtful, I suspect that since this is the final stage, they might have something different in mind, said Kurama. He's right, I just got a message from BB. It says that going through the entryway will transfer you directly to the very bottom of the labyrinth and that we won't be going to the previous stages anymore, said Naruto. Well, time waits for no man, or in this case cyber ninja. Time to dive in and see what this final stage is all about. Naruto leapt into the entryway of the Sakura Labyrinth. He finally emerged to see that the landscape takes on the aspect of digitization as the ground is green with streams of numerical data moving along it with broken pillars and buildings of Grecian design under a blue sky albeit with grey clouds. Naruto looked around and caught no sign of an enemy. Nowhere else to go but forward I guess, said Naruto with a shrug before beginning his trek through the datascape. With the sound of his own footsteps, Naruto continued to look around for anything else besides what he getting familiar with around him. He was suddenly snapped back into focus as a white swirling portal appeared a fair distance away from him and a familiar figure emerged from it. Passionlip, what are you doing here? Naruto was about to approach her when Kurama suddenly spoke up sharply to him, don't get any closer to her kid, something's wrong with her. What are you talking about? Thought Naruto confusedly. Take a good look at her eyes and see what I mean. Naruto did just that and soon noticed that Passionlip's eyes were blank and unfocused as if she was in a trance and not aware of what's going on in her surroundings. Now I do, what's going on here? Target located, beginning procedure of erasing anomaly from the system, said Passionlip in a dead tone, something Naruto flinched at given how nice and meek she was before. What's going on with her? Asked Naruto worriedly. She must be under a trance and being by something or someone, similar to that of Genjutsu, said Kurama thoughtfully. Any way we can wake her up? Only thing you can do for her right now would be to fight to subdue, especially since she being manipulated to fight with the intention to kill. Naruto groaned at this. Oh man, guess I owe her an apology after this. He took a combat stance for the upcoming but reluctant fight. The blonde cyber ninja made the first move as he conjured a handful of cyber shuriken and flung them towards Passionlip, who simply used one of her claws to reflect them with a backhand back at Naruto, forcing him leap into the air to avoid them. He summoned the Aurum blade and pulled the trigger to fire plasma projectiles rapidly, only for Passionlip to hold her claws forward to shield her from the incoming projectiles. He dashed forward whilst switching to blade mode to attack, only for Passionlip to reach to catch the energy blade with a claw and swiping with the other, with the blonde ninja shifting the Aurum blade to the tiger claws to get free before rapidly building distance with a series of backflips. Shadow Clone Jutsu. Naruto created about 36 copies of himself, which then equipped themselves with various weapons, being the chakra blade, Aurum blade, tiger claws and the Vorpal blade. Charge. The clones immediately rushed forwards to engage the lone opponent in close range. Passionlip swung her nails left to right whilst blocking and parrying at times to send the attacking clones flying away from her like ragdolls, to grabbing several handfuls then crushing them with an inescapable grip. Let's try this. Yo-yo battle chip in, and download. See, Naruto inserted a chip into the slot of the pet as Naruto's left hand transformed into an attachment which opened up to fire a large bladed yo-yo with a long rope attached to it to attack. Passionlip quickly blocked the bladed yo-yo with a talon as sparks flew, then she grabbed the rope and yanked Naruto over in an attempt to skewer him with the other talon. I don't think so. Air shot battle chip in, and download. Naruto's other arm transformed into an arm cannon which he aimed at the ground to fire an air bullet, with the recoil propelling him into the air and evading the talon aiming at him to position behind Passionlip, and fired another bullet towards her exposed back to send her flying. Time to try this out. Naruto switched out for the Aurum blade, which he then transformed into the Palutena bow. The cyber ninja made the motion of pulling back a bowstring as an arrow of blue energy appeared, then he released to fire it at the target, only to be blocked, but continued to fire rapidly, with Passionlip once more using her talons as a makeshift shield to defend against it. Let's see you block this. Hailstorm of arrows. He aimed an arrow skyward and fired as it shot into the air before descending towards Passionlip, duplicating itself into a massive number of arrows, with the resulting impact throwing up a cloud of dust. Did that do it? The dust settled to reveal Passionlip standing before with only a few bruises on her body and parts of her outfit were charred. We can take that as a no. She must possess a strong durability to be able to endure that attack, said Kurama with a frown. Passionlip then spoke in a monotone voice, resistance is futile, surrender and be erased. Like I told someone before, I suck at giving up. Naruto dashed forward while rapidly firing at Passionlip with the Palutena bow, albeit they were being blocked. he quickly performed a slide to duck underneath a talon swipe whilst splitting the bow to form two short swords with one held in a standard grip and the other in a reverse grip. Naruto took to using his agility for hit-and-run tactic against Passionlip with a few risky dodges. He tossed the bow into the air in mid-dodge, then created a dozen shadow clones to rush forwards and grab the talons in an effort to hold them apart. Without missing a beat, he caught the bow to send it away as two clones stood at both sides with one helping form a blue spiraling sphere of energy, then the other grabbed his other hand and performed a hammer throw to launch him towards Passionlip. Take this, Rasengan. Salome to degenerate, a dome of red energy appeared simultaneously, dispelled the clones restraining her and dispersed the Rasengan. Naruto noticed his body being enshrouded in a BLD red aura and felt weakened somehow. The secret room is the Bell's box. He looked up to quickly cross his arms to block an incoming punch which sent him flying away and tumbling along the ground. Naruto attempted to rise to his feet but soon noticed that his entire body felt numb. What's going on here? Why can't I move? Naruto grunted out in an effort to regain mobility. This is bad, your body's been paralyzed, said Naruto, looking at the status on the pet screen. Then he saw Passionlip approach with her talons glinting in the light. I won't let you get any closer. High Cannon X2 battle chips in, double download. He rapidly inserted the battle chips into the pet as two blue cannon turrets materialized and opened fire, which impacted Passionlip, which threw up another cloud of dust. The dust cloud settled only to reveal that she was nowhere to be seen, much to their surprise and confusion. Where did she go? I can't see her any Gaiak. Naruto cried out in pain as he felt something wrap around his body very tightly and was lifted a few meters off the ground with no way of breaking free. Whilst the cannons were destroyed as well, he was brought round to see someone turn visible and reveal to be Passionlip. She must have used some sort of invisibility to sneak up on me from behind. It must be stronger than the one you used to be able to move undetected, said Kurama with a growl. Like I said before, resistance is futile. Prepare to be deleted, said Passionlip stoically, squeezing Naruto even more tightly, and was about to skewer him with her talons when a bright light shone through the gaps of the talons and she released him in pain. What is happening? My parameters are being rewritten. Naruto rose from the ground with a pained groan. What just happened? She was about to finish me off. He looked to see a small blue diamond with matrices of numbers swirling within it. That's the thing Kazuradrop gave to me earlier. Don't just stand there, attack her while she's vulnerable, said Kurama urgently. Right, I'll need some of your chakra for this. Naruto created a shadow clone and worked together to create a Rasengan. Then Kurama channeled his chakra into the jutsu to enshroud the spiraling sphere in a vermilion red aura. Naruto rapidly closed the distance between himself and Passionlip, who looked up to stare into his red slitted eyes as he let out a bestial roar. Nine-tailed Rasengan. He rammed the attack into her torso as it inflicted great damage upon her weakened defenses and was sent flying, smashing through multiple pillars in the way before crashing to the ground and laid there unmoving. Naruto picked up the matrix diamond and unsheathed his chakra blade before cautiously approaching Passionlip in case she got up to attack him once again. He was soon upon her and calmly waited till he heard a groan, and Passionlip raised her head to look around in confusion before seeing Naruto, who noticed that she doesn't have that unfocused expression anymore. Maelstrom, what happened and why am I hurt all over? Asked Passionlip confusedly. Do you remember anything? Asked Naruto, going down on one knee to check on her after putting away the matrix diamond. All I could remember was a terrible headache which was so unbearable that I blacked out and couldn't wake up till now. Well, you were trying to delete me, so I had to defend myself. It looked like you were some kind of mind control. I'm so sorry, I never wanted to hurt you. Passionlip bowed her head in guilt. You're not at fault, something was controlling you. I think you should rest for a bit before getting out of here while I continue for the core to find out what's going on, said Naruto in a placating manner. Oh okay, please be careful. I will. Naruto got up and left in the direction Passionlip gave to him at a walking pace in order to recover his strength along the way. Passionlip looked down to the ground and thought of what had happened and wondered just what would have been strong enough to control her. She noticed a pair of feet before her and looked up only for her eyes to widen upon recognizing who it is. Before she could react, everything went black once more, with the only she would hear being a dark chuckle. Meanwhile, Naruto was still on the move, albeit he felt a shiver and turned to look at where he left Passion Lip with concern. Maybe I should have waited until she recovered long enough to leave this place. Understandable, but we also needed to hurry for the core before Gilgamesh gets there and makes a wish, as we both know that the moon cell is not what it seemed. I suspect that it was the one to control Passion Lip to attack us, just like the warning Kazura drop gave to us, said Kurama with a frown. You're right, if the moon cell is able to take control of Passion Lip, then I got a bad feeling that BB is next on its list, which could also affect Sakura-chan. I better move quickly. Naruto broke into a ninja run to pick up the pace and soon enough came across a large stone arch with a white swirling vortex of energy within, that must lead to the core of the moon cell. He made to approach when he heard a voice call out to him. You have kept me waiting for long, mongrel. Naruto turned to see Gilgamesh leaning against a broken stone pillar nearby with a look of annoyance. Would have apologized for the delay if I cared, but I would be kidding myself, said Naruto with a roll of his eyes. Insulting a king while ignorant of one's own standing, I expected nothing less from a plebeian such as yourself. Gilgamesh now stood a fair distance away with his arms crossed. Respect is earned, not given at the drop of a hat, something I'm gonna enjoy teaching you. Naruto now took a combat stance with his faceplate sliding into place. Let's have a good battle, said Gil with an apologetic look on his face via a holoscreen. Same here, we won't hold back, Naruto responded. You shall know your place soon enough, mongrel, said Gilgamesh with a scoff. We'll see about that, Naruto replied. Let us begin, servant. Time to show this mongrel why I am the king of heroes, said Gilgamesh arrogantly. I'm on it. Activating Gate of Babylon. Gil complied, operating on his pet. Gilgamesh then snapped his fingers as multiple golden ripples appeared around him, and the tips of various weapons ranging from swords, axes, spears, lances, daggers, etc. could be seen poking through, with Naruto looking on in a wide-eyed expression. Holy sure WOAH. Naruto rapidly darted left and right, then formed multiple kunai in each hand and flung them at the incoming projectiles to deflect them, only to be knocked aside and had to duck to avoid them. Then he noticed that where he stood began to glow golden and rolled to the side right before a torrent of swords shot out of it. More golden portals appeared on the ground, with Naruto having to be very evasive lest he ends up becoming a pin cushion. Fuhahaha. Is this how you advance to the finals? Dancing around like a monkey? You certainly are amusing. Loose the winds. A golden portal appeared over Gilgamesh's shoulder, which he reached to pull out a golden ornamental single-edged sword before rushing right up to Naruto and struck out with a diagonal slash. Naruto unsheathed his chakra blade in a reverse grip and parried the incoming slash to the side and was about to retaliate, but leapt into the air to evade another barrage of blades from his left side, then twisted his body to dodge the next volley before landing back on the ground. Forget Archer, Tenten would worship this guy, said Naruto, focusing on his opponent but also keeping an eye out for more of those portals. Gotta get to the offensive. Shadow Clone Jutsu. He created several dozen copies of himself, which then rushed towards Gilgamesh in an attempt to overwhelm him with numbers. So a cockroach is capable of making Moray's cockroaches. It will make no difference, as it will end in the same way, crushed like the insects they are. Gilgamesh snapped his fingers to create more golden portals around himself to launch a barrage of weapons at the clones and them all out before they could react, throwing up a cloud of dust. Something shot out of the dust cloud, revealing to be Naruto dual-wielding both the chakra blade and the vorpal blade to attack with a cross slash. Enkidu, chains of heaven. Golden portals appeared around Naruto as chains shot out and wrapped around his limbs to restrain him in midair. Now to show you where you belong. Gilgamesh strutted forward as Naruto struggled to break free from the chains, but they held strong against him. The king of heroes pulled out a halberd from a portal to jab the cyber ninja with, then he followed up with a slash from a claymore, a blow from a mace, a strike from a golden axe. He finished up by snapping his fingers for a cannon to emerge from a portal and firing to send Naruto flying as the chains released their hold on him, with the cyber ninja tumbling along the ground. Fuhahaha. Lying on the ground certainly suits a mongrel such as yourself and many others before you. Hang on, Recov 120 battle chip in, download. See, Naruto quickly inserted the battle chip into the pet for a beacon of light to engulf Naruto and heal his injuries. Something was up with those chains, as they prevented me from using any battle chips. Kit, you better get back up and beat this guy. His arrogance is really getting on my nerves, said Kurama, pumping chakra through Naruto's body to heal him further. I know, at least we learnt a bit about this guy. Now let's try this again. Naruto charged forward once with Gilgamesh scoffing at the action and launched more weapons towards him. Then Naruto unsheathed the chakra blade and the Aurum blade before proceeding to deflect each bladed projectile coming his way. The power of the weapons was nothing to scoff at, but the cyber ninja was quickly adjusting to it and properly defending whilst firing plasma bullets with the Aurum blade. Shotgun battle chip in, download. Naruto sheathed the chakra blade for the arm to transform into a cannon before firing energy bullets in a scattershot. Gilgamesh scowled at this and snapped his fingers to make the Enkidu chains appear around him to form a barrier against the incoming projectiles. Flash bomb battle chip in, download. A white spherical light bulb appeared before Naruto as he kicked it towards Gilgamesh to release a bright flash of light, blinding the enemy. Mole battle chip in, download. A hole opened up on the ground before Naruto to jump inside and closing up afterwards. The golden armored net Navi finally restored his sight from the sudden flash, only to note that his opponent was nowhere in sight. Where did he go off to? Gil looked around confusedly. Suddenly a hole opened up right before Gilgamesh and Naruto out of it to lash out with a powerful uppercut, then followed up with a charged shot from the Aurum blade to knock him what? Gilgamesh looked absolutely livid with what had just happened. You dare lay a hand on me, the king of heroes. First time for everything, buddy, and one of them will be the feeling of defeat, Naruto retorted. Gilgamesh summoned more portals to attack when the cyber quickly created a group of shadow clones which quickly threw their vorpal blades at the portals to disrupt them, much to his opponent's and his Netop's surprise. Don't be so stunned. My opponent before me pointed out that despite my lack of strategic mindset and capabilities not always up to par, but my adaptability is nothing to scoff at. Which brings me to a rather important question. And what would that be? Asked Gilgamesh in annoyance. In a battle of attrition, which would win, an arsenal of weapons or an army? Humph, don't think so highly of yourself, mongrel. Naruto dashed forward quickly with the clones following closely behind him as he rapidly deflected any blades fired at him with the Aurum blade and chakra blade in hand, whilst the clones provided support fire with plasma shots from their Aurum blades and throwing their vorpal blades at either some of the incoming projectiles to protect the original or at the golden portals to disrupt Gilgamesh's rate of fire. Naruto continued to deflect when he suddenly somersaulted backwards to avoid the Enkidu chains which shot out of the ground via a golden portal in an attempt to capture, but there was another barrage of swords launched at him from above. The clones quickly positioned themselves before Naruto and quickly deflected the blades with their weapons. Gilgamesh frowned at this. Why are those clones beginning to give me trouble? They were pathetic before. I see you aren't getting what's going on. You may be known to be one of the high-level net novice across the world because you possess a massive arsenal of battle chips. However, you never took the time to be proficient in any of them, as all I saw was you using the most basic of moves with each weapon so far. The only thing you do is stand there and launch them from afar like a one-trick pony, said Naruto. Hearing those words really got on Gilgamesh's nerves. When I'm through with you, there won't be so much as a pixel left of your cranium. Even more portals appeared and fired more weapons. Naruto took off across the landscape to outpace some of the projectiles whilst creating more clones in addition to the ones supporting him. The clones took to intercepting the projectiles to deflect them or take the hit in the original's place, with the others returning fire with the Cyber Shuriken and Cyber Kunai, which forced Gilgamesh to dodge lest he would be hit with clouds of dust thrown up in the air from the impacts. Naruto suddenly channeled chakra to his feet for a high-speed dash towards Gilgamesh with a slash from his chakra blade, only for his opponent to draw out a golden sword from a portal to clash with him as both struggled for demps. How is this possible? I'm actually being pushed back. Gilgamesh grunted in disbelief. Naruto grunted in response. Ever since I began my life as a shinobi, I've encountered and fought many who specialize in arts attuned to them best in battle with the aim to become better than what they were previously every day. Unlike them, you refuse to move forward, to improve yourself, all because you believe that no one can match your level. But as you can see right now at this moment, I'm rapidly catching up and soon, I will surpass you. At that moment, Naruto triggered the chakra blade's overflow state for it to shatter Gilgamesh's sword, which aggravated him. DMNU, DMNU, DMNU. 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 He began pulling out one sword after another to attack Naruto, shattering each of them with his empowered blade, but quickly performed a substitution jutsu with a shadow clone to escape from a barrage of weapons fired from above to appear a fair distance and stared onto the enraged red eyes of his opponent, DMNU. To think that I must go all out against the likes of you. Gilgamesh, please calm down. Said Gil in an attempt to placate his net navi, but to no avail. Silence, knave. My anger shall not be calmed until I rid myself of this mongrel. Naruto took a spinning step forward as he unsheathed the vorpal blade from its holster to dual wield in order to rapidly deflect the bladed projectiles aimed his way, with every swung of the chakra blade launching crescent waves of energy to disrupt the portals attacking him. He kept at it till the overflow state was exhausted, then he sheathed both blades to summon the Aurum blades and transformed it into the tiger claws before running towards Gilgamesh. Whilst still deflecting the incoming attacks, the clones grabbed one another and flung them into the air towards the portals like makeshift rockets to slam into the portals. Feral frenzy, the tiger claws glowed with energy as Naruto jumped into the air and spun rapidly, which unleashed an onslaught of whirlwind projectiles that deflected more swords and sliced through additional, which Gilgamesh produced and maintained his approach. The golden armored net navi refused to give in as he launched the Enkidu chains to ensnare his opponent, who darted from left to right constantly to avoid being captured for the second time, so he surrounded the cyber ninja from all sides and angles with portals before firing simultaneously, which resulted in an explosion of dust and debris. At first he thought it was over when he suddenly sensed something and looked up, only for his eyes to widen in shock upon seeing Naruto high in the air. Apparently Naruto inserted the Area Steel battleship to help Naruto escape from the seemingly unavoidable attack at the last moment. Diving towards his opponent to end things, Naruto created some more shadow clones and began working with one to form a rasengan. The remaining clones acted on defense to shield them from both blades and chains till the jutsu was complete. Gilgamesh gritted his teeth and prepared to pull out a weapon when the clones grabbed Naruto and threw him at great velocity. Everything was occurring in slow motion. Gilgamesh has just pulled out an oddly shaped sword and was about to use it as Naruto moved the spiraling sphere towards him. Rasengan. Boom. A large cloud of dust threw up into the air along with debris upon impact, obscuring the view. Naruto and Gil watched in trepidation to see who emerged victorious. Soon the dust settled to reveal a large crater with Gilgamesh lying sprawled out in the center of it with a hole in the chest section of the armor, and Naruto stood before, albeit panting in exhaustion but clearly the winner. Gilgamesh opened his eyes and groaned out in pain. To think that I would lose to someone like you, it's just not possible. I never would have thought that he would lose, said Gil in surprise. Naruto shook his head. I was always told that I would forever be a loser and that I would amount to nothing, so I strive to be the opposite of that, to prove to them I am more than capable of being successful just like them. To never run away, to never go back on my word, that is my ninja way. Mark my words, mongrel, I'll wash this dirty mark off with your defeat in due time. For now, I will grant that fact you are strong, said Gilgamesh. We'll be ready for you by then, said Naruto with a look of challenge. They watched as Gilgamesh faded away in pixels. I guess, it's time to head for the core of the moon cell and get to the bottom of all this, said Naruto, turning to face the stone archway. Hang on, take a moment to rest for a bit to recover some chakra before going in. I get the feeling that once we go in, we won't be coming back out for a while, said Kurama, feeling a sense of tension just by looking at the portal through Naruto's eyes. Good idea, Kurama. Do we have enough battle chips left for us to use? Naruto sat on the ground cross-legged before asking the question. Naruto checked the pack and did a head count before responding. We still got battle chips remaining, with a couple which we can use to pull off a couple of program advanced techniques. Good to know, cause I get the feeling that we would be needing them, said Naruto. He rested for a bit longer till he sensed that he had recovered most of his chakra before rising to his feet. I think I've rested long enough, let's get going. The cyber ninja approached the gateway and went through to make his way towards the moon cell, and where all the answers would be revealed to him. Unaware that a dark silhouette walked out from behind a broken stone pillar to see him leave and chuckle darkly before following after with ambitions benefiting no one but itself. Naruto emerged from the gateway to find himself in what feels like a whole different realm as the silent night sky hung over his head with the sparkling of the stars along with sakura petals floating in the air as if carried by a non-existent wind. He also took note that he's standing on the surface of a body of water but wasn't using chakra to do so. But the major thing he can't ignore would be the colossal chains hung around him. "What kind of place is this?" asked Naruto. "I don't know, but it kinda gives me the creeps," said Naruto. Suddenly a voice echoed throughout the realm which they recognized to be BB's, but it sounded so emotionless. Visitors confirmed. Present, we have no plans for guests. Past, no visitors have come. Future, we see no necessity for visitors. Warning to visitor. Please expend with your humanity immediately. If you fail to heed this warning, there was the sound of static, then BB's voice sounded more emotional. "Welcome to the Moon Cell Core Zone. I've been waiting for you, Maelstrom-kun. Please, look down beneath you. You'll see the lovely scenery of our campus spread out before you. Today's flight conditions are perfect for a bombing. This aircraft is turning towards its final destination. Our departure time is yesterday. Our estimated arrival time is the year 3000 CE. It may be only a moment, so please, take advantage the benevolence of your God, myself, and offer your useless prayers. Of course it should go without saying, your prayers will never reach me." Static repeating the last message. Visitors confirmed. Present, we have no plans. That confirms it. The Moon Cell is trying to take control of BB and the entire system, said Naruto with a frown. I suggest you prepare for anything. This fight will be more compared to the previous ones, said Kurama. It goes without saying. Naruto continued onwards with water rippling from every step and his body tensed for whatever he would encounter ahead of him. He soon came upon what could be best identified as the very core of the Moon Cell. Before him, hovering in the air, is a large blue translucent cube with an enormous cherry tree eating into it with the pink light radiating from it to resemble a one-eyed god. There Naruto also saw BB curled up in a fetal position before she uncurled herself to stare at the blonde cyber ninja, though he noticed that her eyes are red instead of the usual purple. BB descended towards Naruto and spoke in an emotionless voice, "As you have ignored my warning and come here, I cannot accept any explanation you may offer. Furthermore, unanalyzable anomalies are targets for erasure." There was the sound of static and BB's eyes changed to purple and she looked at Naruto in panic. "Don, Dissa, are you, Wei?" She gasps, then goes back to her mechanical tone with red eyes again. "Disappear for I, the Moon Cell, acknowledge neither the possibilities of unknown variables nor feelings." BB is struggling for control, but I don't know how long she can maintain it, thought Naruto before glaring back. "Just what you planning to do, Moon Cell? I warned you that there was no room for explanation here. How crude. Die a crude death in a crude darkness in a crude way." BB snapped her fingers, causing the entire area to turn black, and Naruto was shocked to find that he can't move his body, even unable to speak. "That is all you deserve. Even a basic freeze was too resource intensive for the likes of you." "Damn it, I can't move," thought Naruto, struggling to resist but to no avail. "You humans cannot alleviate this darkness. Especially not you alone. In any case, static, will you pardon humanity, or not?" The results of a vote on this question by all the life forms on the earth, from the past to present, resulted in a 49 to 51 passage of the motion to eradicate humanity. The opinions in your favor came largely from plants and animals. Unable to speak, they said they would forgive you. Opinions against you came largely from within your own ranks. Possessing intelligence, you grieve that you would not repent. You understand? You are the only ones who prey upon your own kind for profit. You chose self-destruction. You chose self-destruction. You chose self-destruction. Naruto's mind was suddenly assaulted with images by the Moon Cell. He saw the deaths of 10 billion lives brought upon each other. 100 billion curses laid upon humanity, and they trod upon the words of those who would forgive. Is this really the path we're heading to, destroying ourselves and everything around us till there's nothing left? Can we really change it all? Is this the ultimate truth for us all? Naruto floated in the darkness, unmoving, with the light in his eyes gone. Wake up. Don't listen to that drivel from a stupid machine. You haven't come all this way to be turned into a vegetable. Damn it, wake up, brat. Kurama roared out to the blonde cyber ninja, but he doesn't appear to have heard him at all. This can't be how it ends. BB appeared before Naruto in the darkness, but her eyes are purple as she looked at Naruto in desperation. And no, that's not fair. I should be the embodiment of impartiality, so how could I conceal the truth? Anyway. It was actually 50-50. Why you did it, humanity. In the full unaltered survey results, there was even a 10% of idiots who had hope for the future. Can you believe it? As such shamelessness, it even shocked me. So why did it pass, you ask? That's because Static, the moon cell which became me, shifted the votes. Ugh, you, don't be deceived, Naruto-kun. She was forcefully pulled away, leaving Naruto in the darkness once more. He continued to float there motionlessly, then a finger suddenly twitched, and another twitch, and another, both hands clenched into fists as the light returned to Naruto's face, as well as a look of determination and anger. He was angered at the moon cell's bias towards humanity as well as himself for actually believing it. He had personally seen and experienced the darkness of humanity but refused to believe it to be their true nature, as they're capable of goodness as well. Nothing is truly guaranteed, something he has been proving time and again. No one expected him to contribute to saving a country, or plural for that matter. No one expected him to defeat a prodigy like Neji. No one expected him to actually defeat a supposedly powerful opponent like Gaara. The list goes on, but Naruto proved everyone wrong time and again. VERYYYY. He roared out in defiance as white cracks appeared around him before shattering into pieces like glass to reveal him standing in the realm once more and facing the possessed BB. Foolish. Impossible. Why is your consciousness returning? Why can you affirm yourself? Now that you know this future, there's no reason for you to stand up again. Static, foolish. Impossible. Incredibly crude. Essentially, this should not be happening. Why do you go so far just to suffer? BB demanded for an answer, refusing to accept such an uncalculated response. I may be a net Navi, but I'm also human. I have seen and felt the darkness of humans, but I have also seen the light. So what if you say that our future is destruction? Don't expect us to lay down and accept it. You said it yourself that the plants and animals would forgive, cause deep down they know humanity is capable of change and willing to give us that chance. If you didn't understand us humans this whole time till now, then I doubt you ever will. Naruto stood before BB with eyes full of unwavering determination. Humans are indeed unnecessary. I will erase you here, and mankind's future will be decided. Disappear. Leave no remains. Leave no trace. Leave no words for regret. Leave no room for sympathy. That is what you deserve, said BB. Naruto took a combat stance. I'm pretty sure that no one made you judge and jury of this world. I'm gonna put a stop to you and your so-called judgment. Scanning foe potential, chance of victory, 100%. Executing spawn program. BB summoned a teacher's baton into her hand and twirled it above her head before tapping the ground. Multiple clusters of data materialized before taking on the forms of cyber knights, with several of them wielding shields along with either swords or lances as they took offensive positions towards Naruto. These guys again, shouldn't be surprised since I'm facing a crazy computer after all, Naruto muttered to himself. The blonde cyber ninja dashed forward whilst conjuring cyber shuriken in both hands and flinging them towards the knights, who raised their shields to successfully deflect the incoming projectiles. Naruto intended for them to do so as he somersaulted to land behind, then unsheathing both his chakra blade and vorpal blade to cut them down and disperse into pixels. He spun round to block an incoming sword slash from an attack from a cyber knight and retaliated with the vorpal blade, only for it to be blocked by a shield. Hearing rapid footsteps, Naruto looked back over his shoulder to see two cyber knights charging in to impale him with their lances. He broke away from the clash and leapt high into the air in time as the lancers impaled the knight instead, before coming back down with a double cleaving strike to take both of them out. Naruto spun round to see several archers having materialized with the knights positioned in front of them to protect with their shields and had just fired a volley of arrows at him. Rock Cube Battle Chip in, and download. See Naruto hastily inserted the battle chip into the pet as a large cube of stone to appear before Naruto, who used it as cover against the arrows till the archers stopped to reload multiple mini-bomb battle chips in. Download. Naruto vaulted off the rock cube to jump into the air and began throwing bombs, but the knights used their shields to defend against the chain of explosions. And now shockwave battle chip in, download. With the next chip inserted, Naruto descended with a fist reared back before punching the ground to send a shockwave racing along the ground and piercing through them for the takedown. Predictable methods. Initiating next offensive, BB tapped her foot on the floor. Naruto noticed a purple glowing spot beneath his feet. Instincts screamed at him to get away, from which he immediately complied and dove away right as a purple pillar of light shot up and had almost pierced through him. The blonde cyber ninja hasn't escaped from danger as more pillars of light shot out of the ground, which he had to evade with dodge rolls and somersaults before turning to the possessed BB with a glare. He kicked off the ground to charge at her. He rapidly darted from left to right constantly to avoid the pillars of light trying to get him, and unsheathed his chakra blade while charging it up with chakra for a powerful strike. BB remained unfazed from the approaching danger, an expected action but with no benefits. Domina Chronum Capitoline, crowns of 10 rulerships. She spun her baton above her head to erect a barrier around her right as Naruto attacked with a power slash only to collide with it and was knocked back several feet. Naruto recovered with a handspring before skidding back on his feet. A barrier, huh? Let's see if I can't work my way around it. Shadow Clone Jutsu. He created several dozen copies of himself which then rushed towards BB as they brandished various weapons and attacked the barrier, only for it to hold strongly against the onslaught with nary a scratch on it, while she simply stood with a stoic expression. TCH, normal means won't work, then how about program advance? I'm on it. Triple cannon battle chips in, download. See Naruto inserted the battle chips into the pet. Naruto's left arm along with the right arm transformed into cannons before raising both above his head as they merged into a single large blue cannon. He took aim at BB, with the clones serving as distraction, Giga Cannon. Then he fired a massive beam of energy which slammed into the barrier and triggered an explosion. Naruto lowered his arms as the cannon disappeared. Did that bring down the barrier? He looked at the cloud of smoke blowing away only to reveal BB completely unscathed. It didn't do a thing. A worthless endeavor. Initiating offensive program. Domina Chronum Viminalis, crowns of 10 rulerships. BB spun her baton in front of her to form a purple magic circle before tapping it to fire a beam far larger compared to the one fired by the Giga Cannon. Oh my G dash, Naruto didn't get to finish his sentence before being engulfed by the energy beam, which eventually died down to reveal nary a trace of his being. Current status of anomaly, still operational, said BB before warping away to evade a salvo of energy arrows from above, and Naruto landed nearby with the Palutena bow in hand before reverting to the Aurum blade, yet another predictable tactic. TCH, and here I thought I could surprise her right after that big attack and the barrier fading away. Naruto growled in exasperation. See, Naruto had inserted an anti-DMG battle chip in time to save him and set out for a counterattack. Remember that the being possessing her is the very brain of the moon cell. It would calculate all means of attack from us. It doesn't mean that it can't be beaten. We need to attack in certain way that it hadn't taken into account to land a critical attack, said Kurama. But the question is the kind of critical attack needed to turn this all around. He was snapped out of his thoughts to suddenly take evasive action when pillars of light began shooting out of the ground once more, but that moment of distraction costs as BB restrained him with yet another freeze. Darn it, not again. The duration of wasteful struggle has long since depleted. A decisive action will now be taken. BB ascended into the air and hovered ominously above Naruto, who was struggling to break free of the freeze, but this one is stronger unlike the first one. Oreabura, Golden Grail. She reached into her chest and pulled out what appears to be a golden ornate goblet, which she then poured out a purple liquid onto Naruto, with the result being a chain of fiery explosions. Current status of anomaly. Scanning, scanning, scanning. BB peered through the dying flames only to see a black human-shaped silhouette standing within them, still operational. Partial miscalculation, recorrecting. Naruto emerged from the flames with scorch marks all over his body and his mouth guard has been destroyed with parts of his armor having suffered damage. It's a good thing I managed to channel chakra through my armor to barely withstand that attack, it would have been game over then and there. We need a way to disrupt the moon cells so we can land a direct hit since trying so hard to prevent us from getting one in, said Naruto with a frown. Naruto stood there silently, staring at BB before speaking. I got an idea and it's a crazy one. But will you come out of it alive? About 50% chance of making it out alive, but better than nothing. Okay, ready to help when needed. Thanks. Domina Chronum Celius, crowns of 10 rulerships, BB enshrouded herself in a magenta-colored aura, offensive power enhanced, next phase of attack, guaranteed deletion. Kurama, I'm gonna need a boost for this one, said Naruto. Go ahead, this had better work, said Kurama. Same here, Naruto felt the Biju's chakra flow throughout his body. He jogged at first before breaking into a run with the outside view of appearing as a blur. He formed a rasengan which was then enshrouded in red chakra as he rapidly approached his target. Domina Chronum Viminalis, crowns of 10 rulerships, BB fired a stronger beam of energy with every intention to erase the target this time. Nine-tailed Rasengan. Naruto rammed the boosted jutsu head-on into the beam. Both sides pushed against each other in the clash with Naruto taking one struggling step after another to draw closer but at times getting pushed back but remained adamant to not lose in the struggle. Potential for victory at 0%, cease non-beneficial resistance and accept erasure, said BB stoically. In spite of the current situation, Naruto responded with a smirk, it's like I told many on my way here, ISEK at giving up. No matter how bad the situation is for me or how strong the enemy is, I will never stop fighting to win. A nonsensical ideal of a human. I think you'll be changing your mind soon. Wadash, BB suddenly let out a sharp gasp of pain as she felt something stab her from behind and felt something forcefully access her coding and beginning to rewrite it. She looked over her shoulder to see a clone of Naruto who had snuck up from behind and stabbed her with a diamond matrix. Error. Error. Connection failing. Parameters corrupted. This also caused the energy beam to dissipate as Naruto's Rasengan also dissipated, but BB was now vulnerable. Finish her off now, said Kurama urgently. I'm on it. Naruto unsheathed the chakra blade from the back of his waist and tapped the Konoha symbol for the blue chakra to surge out of the blade and take shape of a longer variation, overflow state active. Naruto raises the chakra blade above his head with both hands as he channels the energy and makes the energy blade extend high into the night sky. Gigant blade. He brings it down in a cleaving strike upon BB, which triggered a radial burst of light. This brightness gradually faded to reveal BB on her knees with cuts and bruises all over her body, but her eyes are reverted back to purple. BB, are you dash? Naruto was about to check on her when an unknown voice spoke up for all to hear. Cessation of system irregularity has been confirmed. Rebooting. Disposing of the Sakura system as the source of the aberration. Searching for valid Sakura system, found. Connecting. Moon cell restart, completed. Beginning intervention with humanity previously frozen by the Sakura system. With the previous interference of the Sakura system removed, progress speed has increased by 20%. It is estimated that the length of time until the fall of civilization will be reduced to 5 days. Naruto's eyes widened in disbelief. What the? I thought I stopped the moon cell from trying to destroy humanity. Why is it still continuing? He saw BB trying to get back to her feet but was unable to do so after everything that happened. No, I won't let you. I won't let the moon cell act freely, I won't vanish, I won't let the moon cell delete me. If I'm going to disappear, I'll take the moon cell with me, I won't lose. After all, if I'm defeated, who will? That person. Tears began spilling from BB's eyes as she looked at Naruto with growing despair. Nothing but data, with no place to go, only to disappear if left behind. But even so, even with a heart like that, you smiled at me being there. That priceless person, who can protect you. BB, just what is going on here? Asked Naruto, being confused about all this. BB was about to answer when a familiar but unexpected voice spoke, "I believe this is the time to make my appearance." That voice, they noticed someone begin to appear visible to them until they could see who it is and were both shocked upon identifying the person. "Kiara-san, what are you doing here?" asked Naruto, feeling even more confused. "You aren't supposed to be here," BB grunted out in pain, "and why am I sensing Sakura and the alter egos within you?" "My apologies, I simply couldn't resist after all this time." "They looked so delicious," Kiara licked her lips in a SNSL manner. Naruto's eyes widened in shock. "You ate them?" BB growled weakly, "This goes against the treaty we made, would spare your life so long as you don't antagonize me. And I did adhere to it, although it never said I couldn't do a few things here and there while biding my time for when you would be at your most weakest." Kiara turned towards Naruto with a sultry smile. "You mean you wanted me to defeat BB for you?" Naruto glared at the nun. He had his suspicions about her but didn't know that her plans extended this far. "Why, of course, I planned for this for a very long time. I was the one who interfered with Sakura Mato's program, which led to the creation of BB, who went on to take control of the Moon Cell as its admin. The peace treaty was also part of the plan. All I had to do was patiently wait for someone with the power to defeat BB and her alter egos to reach the final stages of my plan." "Just what is your plan?" asked Naruto, slowly reaching for the Vorpal blade. Kiara suddenly moved at deceptively high speeds towards BB, at which he threw the Vorpal blade to intercept, but she actually snatched the blade in midair and threw it back strongly, stabbing him in the leg before grabbing BB by the throat and lifting her into the air. "Let her go." "I'd rather not, especially when such an opportunity is before me." Kiara opened her mouth and proceeded to inhale, causing BB's body to break up into pixels and be consumed. BB looked to Naruto in fear. "Please, help me, Naruto-kun," then she was fully consumed. System processing, new admin found for Moon Cell, Kiara Session, the system announced, with the core of the Moon Cell lighting up with a pink glow. "Oh, this feeling, so euphoric." Kiara with a blush. Naruto pulled the Vorpal blade from his leg with a grimace of pain before getting back to his feet. "So this is what you were after, to gain the power of the Moon Cell. Indeed, I will soon become a godlike being who can shower the world with love, and it is all thanks to you," said Kiara with a smile. "Well, don't thank me, 'cause I got a lot to complain to you about." Naruto felt that his leg has healed enough to move and brandished his Aurum blade and Chakra blade. He was about to attack when Kiara suddenly appeared before him with an index finger pressed on his forehead. "So fast. Then I implore that you wait outside for a few moments while I change into something more befitting of my new status." Kiara poked Naruto to send him flying out of the core area. Naruto found himself in the previous area where he had fought Passion Lip and Gilgamesh. He looked around to see the gateway leading back to the Moon Cell core about 2 miles away from where he was standing. Damn it, this came from out of nowhere. I was expecting to having to deal with the Moon Cell attempting a genocide on humanity, then this happens. Naruto snarled in anger. And it gets worse, she severed the connection to the pet so we can't get any battle chips from the outside. "We're on our own here," said Kurama. "This just keeps getting better and better, we'll need to get back in there and put a stop to this or the world is done for. You are well aware that you are about to face yet another godlike being. I know full well, which is why I'll need your help more than ever before. This may not be Konoha or the elemental nations, but I won't turn my back on this world." Stubborn as ever. "Very well then, let us dive headfirst into the depths of hell." "You got that right." Naruto dashed back to the gateway and went through it to get back to the Moon Cell core. He was quick to notice that the place has changed quite a bit. Lily pads and pink lotus floated on top of the water surface. The stars in the night sky are gone save for a moon partially concealed behind dark cloud, and multiple obelisks are seen all around. "Now where is she?" Naruto looked around for the instigator of everything, then he heard her voice coming from the core of the Moon Cell. "Yufufu, you needn't fret, Naruto-kun, for I am here. It is my great joy to have you be the first to gaze upon my new form befitting the one who will love this world," said Kiara. The core glowed brightly as Kiara emerged from it, with her appearance having completely changed, much to the surprise of the blonde cyber ninja. Kiara's habit now hangs from the two massive black and pink lined curved horns extending from the sides of her head. Her black hair with pink tips flows in twisting locks behind her, and on her forehead lays 3 vertical dots. Her attire has changed from a nun to that of a revealing long white coat with belled sleeves and thigh-high pink boots. In Naruto's eyes, Kiara embodies beauty which conceals something demonic within. Kiara descended towards them, and the moment her feet touched the water's surface, it instantly turned red, akin to the color of blood, rather fitting for someone like her. Oh my, is this how I actually look? I thought I would be of something more abstract, and yet, Kiara felt a bit embarrassed. I don't think I can fight properly in this appearance. Hey Naruto-kun, if you think that I'm appealing, then please have mercy. Like I would want to hurt you, said Naruto. His eyes widened in shock at what he just said. Why did I say that? She's obviously the enemy. Kiara smiled beauteously. Indeed, antagonism is something that comes firmly through ignorance. Kiara extended her hand out to Naruto. Come, let's enjoy slowly talking to each other in a bed of lotus. Naruto's instincts screamed at him not to approach this obviously deceptive being lest he loses everything, but her voice and gestures were melting his reasoning. What's happening to me? It feels like I'm losing consciousness, thought Naruto, feeling more docile by the minute. Kurama narrowed his eyes at the current situation. It must be because of her. I suspect she's using a genjutsu of sorts to affect you mentally to prevent you from fighting her. So she's using illusions on me. No wonder why I'm feeling this way. I could use some serious help here. Hang on, I'm working on it as we speak. Kiara noted that Naruto wasn't approaching her, even though she could see that his legs were shaking, trying to walk to her on their own. It seems you still have the spirit to fight, don't you? Even though there's no point to be stuck at something we fully know the result of. Drown in my love obediently. I can prepare a new stimulus of whatever you want, whether it is a life or death battle between lovers or the extinction of humanity. It can be anything you wish, which I can grant. You will be kept alive by me, and I will be kept alive by you thanks to your power. Isn't it fine? Said Kiara with feelings of love from the depths of her heart. Naruto resisted the deceptive allure the best he could, but any time now, Kurama, I don't know how much longer I can resist. I'm giving you my chakra to the point of producing the fox cloak. Its side effect of placing you in an aggressive state constantly should make more resistant to her charm, said Kurama, channeling a large amount of his chakra into Naruto. Naruto felt the Biju's chakra flow throughout his body as the red chakra leaked out of his body and took on the shape of a one-tailed fox with long ears. His eyes turned red with slitted pupils, the whisker marks on his cheeks became more pronounced, and the canines grew longer to poke out of his lips. Naruto felt himself think more clearly and maintained control of his rage to avoid going on a rampage. Kiara was taken aback by the sudden emission of rage and malice from the one before her. She thought that she had won when he couldn't resist her charm any longer. How can this be? Where is this power coming from? Naruto spoke up in a feral tone. Don't bother with that charm of yours, it won't work on me this time. I bet you did this because of what I could do, isn't it? It is truly unfortunate that I will have to erase you, who have pushed me up to this position, said Kiara with utmost sadness. That's because you are a commemorative memory of what I once was. I am nothing like you, Kiara. Naruto snarled in response. You may deny however you like, but I will make use of you who is special to part ways with the past me. I will have you become the first joy for me in becoming a god. You want to destroy me so as to mark your beginning as a godly ruler of the world while using love as an excuse to do so. Kiara looked at Naruto and shook her head in disappointment. It seems you do not understand. Becoming a god is simply a result, as I am loyal to my own desires. I want to be loved by all humans, to become the receiving plate for the pleasure of all humans on earth, the escape valve for the desires of the living beings remaining. Frowning at first, Naruto and Kurama began to realize just what Kiara is aiming for as the blonde ninja spoke up. So you mean? That's right, I want to obtain the greatest pleasure ever by using thousands and millions of humans. You see? That's why my only option is to become God, isn't it? The duo was stunned speechless at what they just heard. This woman didn't aim to become a god so she could rule the world, she did it just so she could feel good. No wonder why BB was so cautious of Kiara. she has to be the most selfish person Naruto has ever met in his life, so many were used as pawns so she could fulfill her own desires. Naruto clenched his fists as he snarled at Kiara with contempt, Kiara, you. I am happy to see that you understand the kind of being I am. Aw, I want to ruin your life with these hands, so much that I can't resist it. Afterwards, I shall descend upon the earth and indulge myself in my individual desires, said Kiara with a look of excitement barely hidden in her eyes. Naruto went down on all fours with a growl, like I'm gonna let that happen, no way you're leaving this place to bring ruin to the world cause I'm gonna stop you here and now. You don't understand, it is difficult to measure good and evil for as long as this world remains equal happiness will never exist. Therefore, let us fill this universe with my love alone. Don't lose to this thing, said Kurama angrily. I have no intention to. A purple aura rose from behind Kiara and took on the form of numerous hands, and a giant humanoid skull loomed overhead while gazing down at Naruto, who remained ever more determined to fight her. Coming at you. Naruto ran towards Kiara on all fours and lashed out with a furious punch only for her to deflect it with a backhand, but refused to be discouraged as he kept on with the combo of punches and kicks, albeit none were connecting with the target. Kiara suddenly willed the shadow hands to reach out to grab Naruto by the arms and legs, then held him up before her. Yufufu, I can't wait to relish from hearing your first scream of agony. Kiara's hand glowed with pink energy as she was about to attack the blonde cyber ninja. She attacked with a punch, but Naruto thought fast and used his chakra tail to grab the incoming attacking by the wrist, stopping it from hitting him. You're gonna have to wait a little longer, Naruto snarled. He took in a deep breath and unleashed a powerful roar which knocked Kiara back, in turn making the shadow hands lose their grip on him. Naruto wasted no time and pounced at Kiara to slash with his elongated claws and kicks in the manner of a wild beast before ending the barrage by thrusting a hand forward for a chakra arm to extend with a punch which knocked her back greatly. Kiara simply giggled with a pink tinge on her cheeks before moving in a blur to stand before Naruto and sent him flying with a backhanded slap. He recovered in midair and landed on all fours whilst skidding to a stop and shaking his head to ease off the pain, with the bruise fading away quickly. Naruto glared at the so-called goddess, who appeared rather bemused. He dashed towards her to engage in close combat once more. Daizushi Chiya Kanpo, Kiara formed a purple energy orb in between her hands which rose into the air and grew in size above her head, then rained down a stream of homing energy beams. Naruto equipped the Aurum blade and switched to the tiger claws, which has serrated edges due to the fox's influence. He proceeded to rapidly deflect the incoming energy beams with the claws and chakra tail till he was upon her. Multiple shadow arms lashed out to attack him. Clawed Storm. Naruto jumped into the air and spun around very fast whilst the claws produced an onslaught of knife-like whirlwind projectiles to slice them apart. He slammed into her with a shoulder charge to make Kiara stumble, then proceeded to unleash a barrage of savage slashes before slashing through her, leaving behind an X-formed slash marks and whipping up a whirlwind afterwards. Such savagery, such ferocity, I want to feel more of it. Kiara spoke with bliss. Naruto was rather revolted at her reaction. She's actually enjoying the pain. Then let's teach her exactly how bad it is to have too much of everything, said Kurama with a growl. Kiara began performing hand signs much to Naruto's surprise. WMB Realm, the principal fist Madara, she released a radial purple wave of energy which hit Naruto before he could react. Naruto made to prep an offensive only to realize that he can't bring himself to attack. Yufufu, my technique seals away your capability to fight physically. Now's the time for you to feel my love. Kiara rushed forward and lashed out with a punch, but Naruto leapt away to evade the attack. No need to deny my love. The shadow hands now stretched out to grab Naruto, who took off while running on all fours, blurring from left to right rapidly to avoid getting caught. Daizushi Chiya Kanpo. She launched another barrage of homing energy beams which Naruto couldn't dodge, so he rapidly fired photon bullets with the tiger claws to shoot both the shadow arms and energy beams down. If I can't fight with hand to hand, then I'll just need to attack from a range. Naruto shifted the tiger claws to the Palutena bow and proceeded to fire homing shots at Kiara, who had her shadow hands serve as shields to defend against the incoming projectiles. The cyber ninja remained undeterred as he continued to fire whilst moving at high speed to constantly change positions to attack. Hailstorm of arrows. He aimed an arrow skyward and fired as it shot into the air before descending towards Kiara and duplicating itself into a massive number of arrows. The false goddess used the shadow hands to wrap around her like a cocoon to defend against the salvo of arrows before unraveling, only to see Naruto standing right in front of her with a charged-up arrow nocked and ready to fire. Gotcha. He fired the arrow as it went for Kiara, only for her to mutter. Diamond Realm, the Wisdom Fist Madara. The arrow was inches from her when it was suddenly erased from existence, much to Naruto's shock. Then Kiara moved a palm forward and began to siphon Naruto's chakra before he leapt back to prevent any more from being absorbed, and Kurama restored the chakra cloak. She could absorb the chakra too? Naruto muttered with a frown. Just another thing to watch. I'm increasing the amount to 2 tails to avoid any more surprises, said Kurama, doing as such with a second chakra tail appearing next to the first one. Naruto felt even more empowered and his capability to attack having been restored. Alright then, let's get to it. He blurred from where he stood to appear before Kiara and unleashed an assault of feral swipes and kicks while she responded with her own hand-to-hand combat, both sides switching between offense and defense. Naruto aired with an overextended claw slash which Kiara wasted no time to capitalize upon. Itenryu, she slammed a palm into Naruto's torso and unleashed a burst of energy which knocked him back and rendered his body unable to move. Time to relish from your pain, Yufufu. Kiara's hands glowed with pink energy as she attacked with a double palm move. The chakra tails from behind Naruto suddenly lashed out to wrap around her wrists and stopping the attack in its tracks, much to her shock. Era. How can you still move? My body may not be able to move right now, but that doesn't mean that my chakra can't. Naruto retorted. The chakra tails tightened their hold on Kiara and proceeded to repeatedly slam her to the ground around him till he felt the fox's chakra get rid of the paralysis. He pulled Kiara close to grab her by the shoulder with one hand, then punched her face viciously up to 5 times before dealing a deadly uppercut to launch her into the air. But Naruto wasn't done yet with his assault as he extended a chakra arm to grab the false goddess, then pull her towards him only to be sent flying again by a haymaker punch from a chakra arm. Naruto took note that Kiara isn't recovering quickly as she is still getting back to her feet. Time to end this. He unsheathed the chakra blade, which is automatically in its overflow state, and held it with both hands before dashing forward with increasing speed. He swung it forward to launch a large wave of red chakra towards Kiara. Ufufu, I've seen that attack to know that it won't do you any good. Kiara bemusedly formed a purple barrier to defend against the incoming attack. I'm not through just yet. Naruto then swung again to launch another large wave to fuse with the first one and form a V-shaped crescent wave whilst positioning himself in between, then colliding with the barrier. He pushed against the barrier in order to break through and directly strike Kiara, who giggled childishly. I find such a waste of effort to be rather pleasurable, said Kiara. And I told you that I'm far from done, Naruto proclaimed. Suddenly the ground behind Kiara burst open, causing her to look behind only to be shocked upon seeing a chakra tail wrapped around a large blue spiraling sphere and shrouded in red chakra. Naruto had made his chakra tail burrow underground to appear behind Kiara with a rasengan at the ready. Kiara hardly got any time to react when Naruto rammed the rasengan into her back, which in turn caused her to lose concentration on the barrier and enabling him to break through and land the initial attack in the form of a pincer attack, resulting in an explosion. Naruto emerged from the explosion and skidded backwards before stopping to look with hopes that the battle is finally over. The smoke cleared to reveal Kiara standing there silently for a few moments before letting out a pained scream and collapsing to the ground. This meant that Naruto won the fight against all odds. Thank goodness, we won. Naruto let out a sigh of relief with Kurama retaking his chakra and cancelling the chakra cloak. I find it a bit amusing that you find a way to defeat enemies far stronger than you, said Kurama. But it doesn't change the fact I was able to beat her thanks to you. Kiara rose her head while in pain. What's the meaning of this? Even though winning or losing doesn't matter, as I've finally obtained the utmost pleasure, yet still, why is it so painful? How could I have lost even though I ascended to the position of a god? I believe I can explain that, a male voice spoke up. Then a boy about Naruto's age with blue hair and formal clothing appeared, albeit looking almost transparent like a ghost. Who are you? Asked Naruto, being wary of the appearance of a complete stranger. I am Hans Anderson, a former acquaintance of Kiara Sessioin till she saw fit to absorb me for more power, the now introduced Anderson explained. Then he looked towards Kiara lying on the ground. And you're wondering how you could have lost. By all means, this shouldn't have happened. However, there was one person who couldn't be killed in this entire world, both in the cyberspace and real world. That person is none other than Naruto Uzumaki. How was it that you all know who I really am? Asked Naruto with a frown. Aside the fact that you and your Hinata look so much alike, Moon Cell can be quite a nosy thing, as it went about trying to know everything about you, including your memories. Back to what I was talking about. Besides absorbing the other alter egos, Kiara had also absorbed BB and Sakura, then based herself on their powers. She couldn't use her omnipotence against you, as they had been desperately opposing her within to protect you. They have? Naruto blinked in surprise. He was able to beat Kiara because Sakura and the others had been resisting her throughout the fight. Oddly enough, they had developed an attachment of sorts towards you and weren't so willing to let you be erased by Kiara or the Moon Cell. You certainly are a strange one. Something like that. It was for a reason like that? How couldn't I have known about this? Kiara painfully spoke. To be honest, I thought you were a foolish woman for accepting the challenge while being aware of the fact, but, Anderson laughed in amusement, I never thought that you were a complete idiot to fight head-on while being unaware of your own weak points. Kiara gritted her teeth in frustration. If I knew, then I wouldn't have fought. I would have blown him away into a random cyberspace and destroyed it along with him, but, she raised her head to look at Naruto, who stared back with eyes of determination. To think that I wasn't defeated by a messiah or a hero, but rather another woman. The relationship between a man and a woman is truly a mysterious thing. It's only natural for the Moon Cell to be unable to handle it. Then she laid there unmoving with the light gone from her eyes. Guess it's finally over, huh, said Naruto, feeling less tense now. Good riddance, using love as an excuse to become a god just to feel good when she doesn't know what love is, said Kurama with a snort. Makes me wonder if I know what love really is myself, said Naruto thoughtfully, considering that he was in love with Sakura, who in turn is in love with Sasuke and refuses to give him the time of the day. He had a good grasp about love amongst family, but little about one between a boy and a girl. Compared to her, yours is better. So, what happens now? Naruto was snapped back into attention upon hearing the Moon Cell speak up. An incorrect ion termination has been verified. Rebooting, said the Moon Cell, destroying the cause of the anomaly, an external living circuit. Searching for a management system able to operate. Found. Connecting. The core within the Moon Cell lit up along with the sound of whirring machines. Moon Cell reactivation success, restarting the intervention towards humanity that had been frozen by the previous Sakura system. What the don't tell me that the dumb computer still wants to destroy humanity. Gimme a break, said Naruto in frustration. The collapse of human civilization is to be in 7 days, all the data of that conclusion is to be transferred to Kiara Sessioin, and no, the voice began to stammer, that command has been destroyed. Resetting the contaminated core, and all of the backside to its initial state, no. That voice, could it be? Naruto-kun, hurry up and escape from the core. The Moon Cell's self-cleaning function is about to activate. Sakura-chan, is that you? Asked Naruto with relief. Yes, it's all thanks to you. Right now, I have been left in control of the Moon Cell as an emergential measure, said Sakura. What about BB-chan and the others, are they okay? They were affected by Kiara's program longer than I was. I could only save them by absorbing their remaining data into me. Oh, guess Kazuradrop got her wish in the end, said Naruto, albeit sadly. Please hurry up, I've restored the connections to everyone's pet and returned their net novice to them. You can jack out once you leave the core, said Sakura urgently. Naruto was unsure about leaving her behind, but what about you? Don't worry, I discovered a way to leave the system, but I'll need your help from the real world. Okay then, I'm heading out. Naruto turned to leave but then noticed Anderson still standing over the still form of Kiara with the bluenet noting his presence. "You're still around, are you a benevolent person down to your very bones, Naruto Uzumaki?" "Stop it, that will tire you out of your life," said Anderson in a bored tone. "What about you?" asked Naruto. "Like I'd want to see the face of a woman who showed me a worthless conclusion, or do you wish to disappear together with me? Get out here with your life and that of others, don't waste it on a ghost." "Fine, hope you can rest peacefully, I guess." Naruto turned and took off as fast as he could before exiting the core. Humph, what a cur person. I can't help but feel a bit disappointed in not being able to be around him. "I feel that he would certainly make interesting stories," said Anderson with a soft smile before fading away along with Kiara. Naruto found himself jumping out of the sakura tree and back into the academy, where he saw Alice and Shirori along with Lancer and the other solo net novice running up to him. "What's going on, Maelstrom?" asked Lancer. "The moon cell is formatting itself and we don't want to be here when that happens," said Naruto urgently. He saw the holoscreens of the Netops appear above them. "Please, I need you to let the solo net novice into your pets and quickly head for the boat at the pier." "No need to tell us twice," said Kuro. "Let's get out of here," said Lancer before being jacked out by Bazette along with Elizabeth. Tamamo and Nero got jacked out by Kuro. Naruto turned towards Alice and Shirori, who were holding on to him the whole time out of worry with what's going on. "Let's get going, jack us out." "Already on it," said Naruto as he had already plugged in the pet and was now extracting them. Then he plugged into the hollow brace to have Naruto take control of the hollow body and recharge the bracelet. "Big bro, what's happening?" asked Alice, seeing the Navi form of Naruto sleeping. "I don't have much time to explain, but I promise to tell you everything after this," said Naruto. "Okay, but please be careful," said Shirori. Naruto exited from the room into the hallway to see the alarms blaring, as well as the other Netops exit from their rooms as well and meeting up together. "Let's head for the boat and get out of this island, things are getting dangerous by the minute," said Bazette. "You guys go ahead, I'll catch up," said Naruto, making everyone look at him in confusion. "Are you crazy? We need to get out of here," said Kuro. "I know, but I need to make sure that nothing like this happens to anyone ever again," Naruto responded. "He just can't leave the moon cell alone to try and destroy humanity." "I'm sure we can do this later after returning with the officials," said Gil. "No, I know what this thing is capable of and I need to do this while it's still trying to recover its systems. Just go, I'll definitely catch up with you all." "Very well then, don't keep us waiting," said Bazette. She led the others albeit reluctantly while Naruto went in the opposite direction. "Big bro, what are you going to do?" asked Alice with concern. "Find a way to put a stop to the moon cell. I'm hoping Sakura-chan can help with this," Naruto answered. "Indeed I can, but I'll need you to go somewhere first before I can initiate the destruction of the moon cell's medium on this planet along with the island." Sakura spoke up through the pet hanging around Naruto's neck as he ran. "Then tell me where I need to go," said Naruto. "Take a left at the next corner." Naruto rounded said corner with a skid and continued on his way. "Keep going straight." He increased his speed whilst passing through the corridors. "Take a right to go down a flight of stairs." Naruto took to grinding down the railings of the stairs to quickly reach the bottom. "Take a left at the corner ahead of you, it will lead you to a sealed door." He followed the directions and arrived before the aforementioned door. "So what do I do here?" asked Naruto confusedly. "Just give me some time to unlock the door," said Sakura. There was the sound of beeping before the door opened up with a loud hiss with a white mist coming out through it. Naruto cautiously went inside to find himself in a large white room and saw large green glowing circuits along the ground, all which led to what appears to be a large white pod at the center of the room. The pod appears to be a closed-up lotus flower bud with marble material. "What am I looking at here, Sakura-chan?" asked Naruto, but he received no reply. "Sakura-chan, are you there?" "The link is cut off," said Shirori with a small frown. "Now's not a good time for that to happen. What do I do here?" Naruto was snapped out of his thoughts when he noticed something going on with the pod as it began to open up by actually blooming, like a lotus flower, to reveal a crystalline chamber covered by glowing circuitry which was soon disabled. Inside, Naruto was shocked to see none other than Sakura, although she appears younger around his age and wearing a white gown. She opened her eyes to see Naruto and tried to approach him but stumbled out of the pod with Naruto quickly catching her before she hit the ground. "Sakura-chan, is this really you? I thought you were an AI," asked Naruto. "I saw in BB's memory banks that she was bioengineering a body which she could use to move around in the real world. I decided to seize this opportunity to eject myself from the system," Sakura explained. "Okay then, but where do we go from here?" asked Naruto urgently. "There's a way to destroy the moon cell, but I'll need your help to get there." "Alright then." Naruto scooped Sakura up in his arms in a bridal carry with the girl blushing at how close she is to him. "Point me in the right direction cause I'm gonna be quick about it." "Oh okay." Naruto dashed back the way he came before Sakura began giving him directions to a different route, going through corridors and flights of stairs since some of the elevators are out of commission and don't want to be caught off guard until arriving at a dead end of sorts, much to the blonde ninja's confusion. "There's nothing here," said Naruto pointed out. "That's not exactly true, there's a hidden room behind this wall. We just need to break it," Sakura explained. "Then in that case, leave this to me." Naruto let Sakura down on the ground and stepped forward. An incomplete rasengan should be enough to break down the wall and not cost much chakra from the hollow brace. He held his palms close together as a spiraling sphere of blue energy was formed in between them before he slammed it into the wall, effectively destroying it and revealing the room. "Thank you Naruto-kun," said Sakura in awe, having seen it in Naruto's memories but still amazed. They went inside to come upon a rather old-fashioned desktop computer which she booted up the DOS operating system and opened up a command prompt before proceeding to enter a series of coding into it. "What are you planning to do?" asked Naruto. This computer was secretly created by a scientist as a contingency plan against the moon cell should it act haphazardly like now. It serves as a detonator to a massive number of explosives placed all over the island since it was separately built from the moon cell and needed to be accessed manually. No one knew of this till one of my alter egos discovered but hid the information away until I absorbed them back into me and learned about it, said Sakura before finalizing the command by hitting the enter key on the keyboard. Then a window popped up on the screen to display a countdown. "It's time to leave." "Gotcha." Naruto picked Sakura up again and took off as fast as he could. He quickly got out of the mountain and into the forest where he took to leaping through the trees to reduce the time to get to the other side where he caught sight of the pier and the boat on which the others were beckoning him to hurry over to them. "Hurry up Naruto, we need to go." Bazette called out to him, albeit curious of whom the boy was carrying. Once Naruto got on board with Sakura, he turned to Bazette with urgency. "We gotta get out of here fast, the island has been set to blow." "I'm on it." Bazette hastily took control of the boat and sped away from the island till they got far enough in time before multiple explosions engulfed the entire island with thick plumes of smoke rising to the skies. "I guess that's that, hopefully no one or their net novice would be endangered like that again. Though we're curious to ask who she is and why she resembles that nurse AI, asked Kuro, looking at Sakura who was sitting way too close to Naruto. "I believe we're all interested to know about that," said Gil. Naruto was about to respond when his pet began ringing to signal an incoming call and so answered it. "Hello? Naruto, thank goodness. We have been trying to reach you the entire time but couldn't even locate you on GPS till now. What happened to you?" asked Hikari with concern. "Perhaps being on the island must have severed our connection to the outside world till now," Kurama mused. Naruto rubbed the back of his head sheepishly as everyone stared at him and Sakura. "Well, it's a pretty long story, but considering we're in for an equally long boat trip home, I might as well tell you guys what had been going on behind the scenes that led to what happened." As the blonde ninja proceeded to tell everyone including Hikari about what occurred in the tournament from his point of view and what he had learnt while there, he along with certain net novice were unaware of certain strange markings appearing on the back of their hands before fading away. In the living room of an apartment where a computer can be seen on a desk with two pets docked and connected to it. A door opened to reveal Sakura dressed in casual clothing as she walked in with a small yawn before approaching the computer and speaking to it. "Naruto, Alice, Shiori. It's time to wake up," Sakura spoke up. The screen lit up to display what could be best described as a virtual home with a clear view of the interior in the bedroom. Naruto could be seen waking up from his bed with a loud yawn as he was wearing pajamas similar to what he used to wear back in Konoha. Alright, I'm up. Naruto got off the bed and snapped his fingers, changing from his sleepwear into his normal attire before leaving the room and heading into the parlor where he sat on one of the couches. Morning, Sakura-chan. Sakura smiled in response. Morning, Naruto-kun. Now we need to wait for Alice and Shiori to wake up. They needn't wait long as the door to another bedroom opened up with the two aforementioned sisters emerged and greeted them both. Good morning, big brother, Sakura. They went to hug Naruto, who hugged them back with a smile. I can see that everyone is awake now, a voice spoke up, getting everyone to turn to the person who just walked in. She is a young girl in her teens with long blonde hair tied into a ponytail. Her attire consists of a helmet-like headgear, a red sleeveless dress with a red vest over it, a pair of high heels, a black bodysuit underneath them, and a white lab coat. Good morning, Miss Seal, Sakura greeted politely. Morning, Seal-san. We'll start getting ready for school before setting out, said Naruto. Well, the same could be said for me since I need to get to Scilabs, said Seal. In order to get an idea of how come Naruto and the others are living with Seal instead of remaining with the Hikaris. We'll need to take you back to a couple of weeks before the present time. Flashback start. And that's what appeared at the island before we blew it up. Naruto finished telling the story of what he had experienced at the island to Hikari and the other scientists in Scilabs. Dr. Hikari hummed and thought upon hearing the story, to think there was such amazing technology with a direct link to the moon itself and could alter reality itself. I would have liked to study it, but I must agree with your decision to sink the island. A system acting as judge and jury isn't something we'd like acting without our awareness. I'm just glad that we were able to put a stop to it, said Sakura. But moving on from this, we would like to scan the both of you to see if there are any irregularities in your bodies. Naruto quirked an eyebrow in confusion. Okay, I don't really mind. Okay then, return to the pet so I can connect it to the system, said Hikari. Naruto connected the pet to the holobrace and returned into it for the Hikari to pick up and do as he said. The large monitor displayed a 2D portrait of Naruto's body, and next to it is a window displaying matrices of data which Hikari was looking at very carefully with eyes narrowed in serious concentration. The scientists had escorted Sakura to a table for her to lay down on before performing a scan as well. About a few hours later, everyone had gathered to discuss what they might have discovered or come across during the scans. According to my analysis, it appears that some sort of program is within you, Naruto. The data is heavily encrypted and would take some time for me to decrypt and find out its function, said Hikari with a small frown. But is it something harmful to me? Asked Naruto warily. So far, there aren't any harmful effects on your body and coding as of now. But the moment you feel any kind of strange effect, make sure to contact us immediately. I will. What of me? Asked Sakura. Well, from what we got from our analysis. You're 100% human despite being created artificially, which is something amazing and would win someone a Nobel Prize. But like I told Naruto, contact us if you start feeling strange as well, said Hikari sternly. Okay, this kinda leaves us with a minor problem, Naruto pointed out. Hikari turned to Naruto with a quirked eyebrow. What is it? Where are we gonna stay? I don't think there's enough room at your place now since Sakura is going to be with us. I see, this does pose a problem right now. Perhaps I could be of help, Dr. Hikari. Everyone turned to see Seal shyly raising her hand up. How so, Miss Seal? Asked Hikari. I live in an apartment here in Dentech City with enough room for 3 people. They can stay with me for as long as they like if it is okay with you all, Seal explained. Are you sure? We don't want to inconvenience you, asked Sakura unsurely. Seal smiled gently in response. It's quite all right, I certainly don't mind in the least. Then all we can say is thank you, said Naruto gratefully. Thank you very much, Alice and Shiori called out from inside Naruto's pet. Now that has been solved, our next step would be to induct you two into school, said Hikari. Naruto turned to the man with a look as if he was told that ramen no longer exists. What do you mean I'm going to school? Naruto, It's necessary for you to be educated since you're going to be living in this world now, and being a net Navi doesn't exclude you from that. Even Alice will be going as well since we have some extra holobraces here with us, said Hikari sternly. The blonde cyber ninja wanted to protest but could bring himself to say anything more. Alright, fine. Sakura took his hand with a smile. It's okay, plus we'll be going together. She was inwardly happy to go to school with him. Sigh, it's almost as if I can't get away from it, Naruto grumbled to himself. Tell me about it, said Kurama in amusement. Flashback end. Afterwards, Naruto as well as Sakura and Alice were inducted into AC/DC Academy, with the latter going to elementary school. Lon and the others were surprised but welcomed them nonetheless. Naruto was still uncomfortable about going to school, but that changed when he met Miss Mari and couldn't help but feel that she's just like Irika, being both kind and strict at the same time, making feel more at ease with the familiarity. Naruto and Alice transferred themselves from the virtual home, which is a side project made by Seal for Net Navi to get a homely feel when they're not in their pets. They activated the holobraces and materialized into the real meal before going to sit at the couch to wait for Sakura and Seal to have their breakfast before setting out. Man, I really miss eating even if it's not ramen, Naruto muttered longingly. Me too, I miss chocolate milk, Alice whined. Don't lose heart, Alice. I'm sure everything will be fine in time, said Shirori with encouragement from inside the pet which was given to Alice. Dr. Hikari said that he would find a way for us to fully emerge in the real world. I just hope that it's soon before I go crazy. Hope that doesn't happen while I'm in here, Kurama spoke up. Okay everyone, we're ready to go, Sakura spoke up, hers backpack in hand. Alright then, time for school. Naruto picked up his backpack with the same for Alice and her satchel. I'll see you three after work, said Seal as they all left the apartment via an elevator. Naruto rode on his skateboard, albeit at lower speeds, for Sakura and Alice to keep up with him in their scooters, with Alice's being an electric type. They soon arrived at the school and parked their skateboard and scooters at the designated place before going to their assigned classrooms, meeting up with Lon and the others. Hey guys, how's it going? Lon greeted the approaching duo. Naruto nodded in response, same as always, pretty good. It still surprises me that you're going to school despite being a net Navi, said Yae. Yeah, but it's not so bad like I used to think, Naruto shrugged in response. Makes me wonder how it would be like if Megaman went to school with us too, said Lon. I'd be doing my homework and paying attention to class unlike you, said Megaman teasingly. Lon grumbled at his words. Oh sure, point out the obvious, why don't you? Hey Lon, have you and Naruto been to Net City yet? Asked Melu curiously. Not really. We were kinda busy because of Mom sending us on chores. And we're still getting used to things, said Sakura, with Naruto nodding in agreement. Yae scoffed, then you guys have no idea what you're missing, you should totally check it out. At this point, Ms. Mari had just entered in the classroom. Alright everyone, please take your seats and get ready as class is about to begin. Yes ma'am, the students obliged before sitting at their assigned desks, with Naruto and Ko doing the same. The day went on like normal, with the students learning many things. Naruto himself found these lessons to be interesting as well, especially in subjects relating to coding. He had been wondering just how he was able to bypass Dr. Hikari's firewall to access Megaman's pet that day. It was like he instinctively knew how to edit the code. He asked Kurama, and the Bijou himself didn't have a clue either, although he suspected something but isn't too sure for now. Eventually, class came to an end and it was time for the students to go home. The group gathered at the gateway to continue what they were talking about that morning. Tell you guys what, I'll go over to Lan's house tomorrow since it's the weekend to take them to Net City and we can all meet up, Melu suggested. Naruto nodded in understanding. Sounds like a plan, we'll see you then. Naruto, Sakura and Alice made their way back to the apartment and settled down, doing their homework, with Sakura being rather persuasive to do it together with Naruto, who wanted to do it later but was convinced otherwise. Alice worked together with Shirori to finish her homework. They were watching a TV show together when Seal came in and called out to them. Hello everyone, I'm home, said Seal. Welcome home, Ms. Seal. How was your day at work? asked Alice politely. It was okay, we were analyzing the data of Naruto's overall structure and came across data which we managed to convert into battle chip data for Naruto and likely other net Navi to be able to use, said Seal, reaching into her purse and taking out a plastic case which she opened to reveal battle chips for them to see. Naruto looked at some and was surprised to see what they are. Hang on, I recognize some of these, they're jutsu which I saw back in the elemental nations. But how can they be here when I never used any of them? Dr. Hikari theorized that the mysterious program within you must played a factor in the conversion of the jutsu into chip data. I see. Naruto looked back at the chips which are 8 in total to identify them. He noticed that they were named Jutsu Battle Chip or JBC for short. Rock Bullet. Rock Hammer. Great Fireball. Phoenix Flower. Chidori. Thunderbolt. Water Dragon. Great Breakthrough. Some of these jutsu were never seen by you but they certainly exist. This strange program must possess an archive of ninjutsu within it, said Kurama thoughtfully. Yeah, 4 of which I'm familiar with, thought Naruto, not exactly having good memories of 3 of the 4 jutsu. Dr. Hikari said that he'll continue to analyze the data to see if he can find more than what can be converted into battle chip data, said Seal. Okay, we'll be going to see Net City that Meilu and the others were talking about at school today, said Naruto. In that case, I can set up a link that will take you there directly on the computer, said Seal, walking over to the computer and typing on the keyboard for a couple of minutes. There, the link is all set up for use. Thanks very much, Ms. Seal, said Alice gratefully. You're all welcome. Since we've got the link to Net City in the computer, we'll go and see the place tomorrow. Is that okay with everyone? Naruto queried before receiving nods of affirmation from the others. All right then, time for bed. Naruto and Alice docked their pets and deactivated their holobraces, missing a sad look on Sakura's face when she glanced at the pet in her waist pouch which has no net navi inside for her to use before going to bed after bidding Seal goodnight. So alright folks, that's all for today. Stay tuned for part 5. Do subscribe, like and share for more such videos. Also check out the story and author Hussbek on FANFICTIONnet. Press the bell icon to be notified first on release. See you in the next video. Till then, goodbye.